free.
Welcome everybody, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's joining this live joint event by the British Council and the US Regional English Language Office and the Kazakhstan Teachers of English Association. It's a late afternoon for you, I know. It's been probably a very busy week and a crazy year, so a huge thank you for joining us today. My name is Maja Mandikic. I'm the Regional Portfolio Manager for the British Council based in Croatia. It's really great to see so many numbers, such a big number of teachers joining us, and we know that about 2,000 teachers registered for the event, which is really excellent, and we are really happy to have you with us today. As you have probably seen from the event that we put together and the agenda that we shared in advance of the event, we've got a series of sessions that will be addressing different types of issues that teachers face on a daily basis when it comes to interacting with learners online. So I hope that you will be able to stay with us throughout the day. As it usually happens, we will kick off with a couple of welcome address notes from our esteemed guests. So I will very quickly hand it over to them, and after that I'll take you through some very brief housekeeping notes, and I hope we will all be ready to kick off this exciting event. So I would now first like to invite Eric Laurie, the Director of the British Council in Kazakhstan, to address us. Thank you, and over to you, Eric.
Thank you very much indeed, Maya, and a very warm welcome indeed to all teachers, speakers and partners. I think it's really fantastic that we're able to make this happen, and I think it's particularly relevant at this time during the pandemic, when so much is now online rather than face to face. I think it's commonly assumed that when it comes to learning and development, that only 10% or so is from formal learning, such as being in a classroom or on a training course. 20% is from informal learning, for example, from colleagues and co-workers, and as much as 70% of learning is through the workplace or experiential. This is often referred to, and I think we all know this, but just to emphasize it, this is often referred to as the learning pyramid. I believe that forming a community amongst teachers reaches all 100% of the learning and development pyramid. It gives room for all these possibilities to take place. One can meet colleagues, take part in talks, engage in chat, and pick and choose what one wants to see and that is relevant. Importantly, and perhaps most importantly, it can be done from anywhere with no need to travel. Just a few clicks away, as the saying goes. Something an online teacher community has over all other forms of engagement is that it is always there and always available. What I think is so special about the online teaching community all of us are part of today is the fact that it has an international dimension. We will hear from a diverse range of experiences and viewpoints from the UK, the US, and of course, Kazakhstan expertise. Adding an international dimension to teaching and indeed learning opens minds to a broader range of views and perspectives. When teachers see, hear, feel and touch a diverse range of views and opinions, including international perspectives, they'll be better able to make informed choices. The difference, in my view, between a good teacher and an excellent teacher is their ability to make the right choices that offer the very best learning possibilities for their students. Education should be up to date and relevant as approaches do move on and techniques develop. I very much believe that the programme ahead of us is a rich one that will be of mutual benefit and interest to everyone here today. I'd like to thank those colleagues who put together such an amazing programme and for getting such a magnificent list of ELT expertise, many of who are well-established names and significant thinkers and practitioners in English language teaching. I'd also like to thank John Silver, Regional English Language Officer for Central Asia, who I first met in Senegal, West Africa, some 8 years ago. I think that both he and I have about the same amount of hair on our heads today as we had back then. But in particular, I would like to thank you, our teachers, KazTEA and Tatiana Letvaikina. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but Tatiana. Without you, none of this could be possible. So thank you very much indeed to everybody, and a huge welcome.
Great, thank you, Eric. This is a really good segue into the next welcome address. So over to you, John. I'm really happy to be able to introduce John Silver, Regional English Language Officer for Central Asia in the US Embassy. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Maya, and thank you, Eric. Hello, everybody. As introduced, my name is John Silver. I am the Regional English Language Officer. I'm an American diplomat, and I work at the US Embassy in Nur-Sultan. Also, like many of you, I am by profession an English teacher. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to the online teaching community. This is a great new partnership between the British Council and the Public Affairs section of the US Embassy. It's one of the first types of such cooperation between the RELO and the British Council in Kazakhstan. As Eric mentioned, it is not at all unique in the history of RELO or British Council worldwide cooperation. There are many places around the world where we work together. And as Eric mentioned, we began working together in Senegal on teacher education projects. I think that was a great start to our cooperation. I don't think that our hair loss was caused by this cooperation. There may have been some other factors along the way, but it has always been an excellent partnership. The British and US embassies in Kazakhstan, we stand unified in our support for Kazakhstan's trilingualism initiative, for English language teacher and learner education. KazTEA is a steadfast partner of ours with a long history of working with the British and American embassies. I don't think that a year goes by that we don't have another great project that we're working on with KazTEA. Working together with you, we can make a difference with English language teaching and learning in Kazakhstan. We have many different projects and programs that you can become involved in. One of the projects or programs that we do have is the English Language Fellow program, and you'll hear from our presenters who are sponsored by RELO. I'm very excited to watch their workshops and those of our British counterparts and local counterparts as well. Today's event is just one of our planned events that we will be working on with the British Council. Later this summer, we hope to have some more online training connected to the OTC. So we're looking forward to big things, and we want you to be with us. Thanks everyone who has helped to make this project possible, especially the people working on the tech side with the British Council. You've done an excellent job. We're very much looking forward to the event today. So I will turn it back over to Maya, and that's it from me. Thanks.
Great, thank you, John, and thank you for your kind words. And last but definitely not least, I would like to welcome and introduce Ms. Tatiana Letvaikina from the Kazakhstan Teacher Association. It's really great to be joined by somebody working with teachers across Kazakhstan. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Maya. Thank you so much. Yes, and on my part, I'm really happy to greet participants and guests of this huge event. Yes, it's true in past, well, and so this is the first time when we cooperate with the British Council and Regional English Language Office teams well, online, and it's another challenge, and hopefully we would overcome and manage it successfully. But in past, well, I do prove that there was a number of huge events, joint events together with the British Council and RELAW. So while it should be another successful project, well, cooperative project of us. And I think that KazTEA is the right organization to investigate the needs of Kazakhstan EFL and STEAM teachers, while Eric and John have already mentioned that, so they support trilingual project in Kazakhstan. So, and well, this is a good opportunity to develop the courses and resources on the online teacher community platform according to the needs of our teachers. What is more, KazTEA with its local association provides good opportunities for local teachers to present and share their best practices at local and national level, with further participation on this very platform as facilitators. Yes, I have already well investigated this platform, and I see this option join as facilitator. So this platform provides diverse opportunities for Kazakhstan teachers in their lifelong learning experience and upgrade their roles from a participant to an international facilitator and hopefully expert. So I'm really happy to greet everyone, and well, I do believe that this event and online platform would be a really huge, great opportunity for our teachers. Thank you so much, Maya.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And it was really great to hear from our esteemed guests and to kind of set the scene of the event for today. I mentioned at the very beginning that there will be some housekeeping things that I want to cover with you, just to make sure that there is that we have a good event and that we don't really have any issues. As you can see, we are using the Teams, Microsoft Teams, for this event. As with anything digital, I hope that we will be blessed with good connectivity today and that we won't have any issues. If at any point you drop out of the event, just make sure to dial in again using the instructions that you have previously received. Also, you are able to actively use the chat box in the event. So please do feel free to use that. We are really eager to see your comments and your questions. All of the sessions have a bit 5 minutes towards the end for you to ask any questions, but we would encourage you to actually pose questions throughout the event and also to very interactively respond to questions and activities that our presenters and trainers will have for you today. So I definitely encourage you to be very active and post any questions and comments that you might have, which are relevant and which are linked to the event and to the sessions that we will. You also have the option of liking questions that you see and comments that you see posted by other teachers. So if there's something that you really like or a question that you would really like us to read out to trainers, make sure that you like that question, and we will try to read as many as possible within the constraints of time that we have available for each individual session. We have mentioned previously that we are launching in a way today the online teacher community in Kazakhstan, which is a British Council platform for English language teachers. You've seen that mentioned in the invitation. We will keep posting the link to the platform in the chat throughout the event. And at the end of the event, we will also be sending out a link to surveys and also encouraging you to join, explore, and you will hear more about what's coming up within the platform in cooperation between the British Council and the US RELAW. I hope you will enjoy the event today. We put together a really exciting program, so I hope you will remain engaged and active throughout the day. You've got a couple of sessions to choose from. We hope you will be able to stay on for the entire duration of the event. And at this point now, I would like to invite my colleague Simon Etherton from the British Council based in Ukraine, who will tell you more about the platform, the online teacher community, before we kick off with our sessions later on. So Simon, over to you.
Thanks, Maya, for that, and thank you to Eric and John for your wonderful introductions. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for cooperation, and to have KazTEA supporting our initiative here, I think, is also wonderful. We were looking just before before we started the event at the registrations, and we saw that KazTEA membership was really significant in terms of people registering for this event. So we're really super pleased that that we're all working together to interact and engage with teachers in Kazakhstan. I also noticed from the chat that we have a few guests from other countries as well, Ukraine and Myanmar and other places, and you're more than welcome as well to join us today. I'd just like to say a few words about what we call the online teacher community, which is our professional development platform for English language teachers. The online teacher community actually was born out of a model of continuing professional development for teachers based around communities of practice. So we have around the world in a large number of countries various initiatives. Sometimes they refer to these communities of practice as tags, teacher activity groups. Sometimes they're referred to as PLCs or professional learning communities. And why these models of professional development have been so effective is that the engagement, the interaction, the thinking, the application happens over a long period of time. There is input, there is application to classroom, there is reflection, and this whole process is supported by colleagues and peers. So, you know, when you read an article or attend a MOOC or something like that, you can discuss it with your colleagues. What does this mean? How does this apply to our classrooms, our curriculum? Is there anything that we can take from this? You're sharing that discussion, you know, and then action planning together. Okay, let's try this out in our classroom. Try things out, come back, reflect, share, discuss how things went. And we've discovered that this is a really powerful model of professional development for teachers. And we wanted in this region, particularly across Central Asia, Ukraine, the South Caucasus, we wanted a model that would help us to provide meaningful professional development to teachers who are in isolated, remote, perhaps rural communities, sometimes even conflicted communities, teachers who don't really get a good opportunity to sit down with other teachers, you know, chew the cud, talk about their practice, share the challenges, the solutions that they've been trying with. So the idea of an online community of practice was born out of a desire to not leave any teacher behind, to include everybody and to provide access to this kind of meaningful professional development. Of course, we started developing the OTC, as we call it, the online teacher community, before COVID. So actually, once the pandemic struck and we were all forced into remote teaching and learning environments, and our traditional professional development chances and opportunities for teachers became obsolete because we can't meet face to face. Suddenly, the online teacher community started to become meaningful for a much broader category of teachers, all teachers, in fact. So what is the online teacher community? Well, very briefly, and I will say that we have two of our wonderful global moderators will be coming on a little bit later to talk in more detail about the OTC and what it is and how it works. But the online teacher community is basically a platform where you can register. You can join your country community. So for you, that'll be Kazakhstan community and the Kazakhstan domain. In that domain, you will find there'll be some fairly regular webinars that you can attend. There will be asynchronous interaction through discussion forums where you can log on, see what people have said, add your own contributions to that, add to the, you know, take part in those kind of conversations, and then you can go on the wider platform, because our platform stretches over 13 or more countries, and you can go onto the wider platform and attend special interest groups we have groups on climate action, ICT in education, 21st century skills, special educational needs, and so on. So you can join those special interest groups and start to interact again through synchronous and asynchronous webinars and chats and so on to interact with teachers internationally. So it provides a variety of communities which you can interact with others. So you know, we launched the platform in November last year. We had 3,000 teachers attended that across our region. We are working with governments in Ukraine and Georgia, for example, where we are running professional development for teachers, specific groups of teachers on the platform. I know we already have hundreds of teachers from Kazakhstan who are already on our platform enjoying it. So you know, we would very much welcome you to come follow the link, come and register, come and join us on the platform, and we'd love to see you there. I'm going to, I think that's enough from me, so I'm going to hand back to Maya, and she can add anything that she thinks I've forgotten, and then we'll carry on with the rest of our event today. I wish you all a wonderful conference today, wonderful event today.
Great, thank you, Simon. Well, I think you've covered all the key bits, because we will hear more about the platform later on from our moderators. There's only one thing that I wanted to stress. The online teacher community is exactly what the title says. It is community, and we would really encourage teachers to actively engage in activities within the community. It is not a course, because we really very much want to focus and drive the message that continuous professional development really is meant to be a continuous process, something that you engage with regularly. So it's not something that you join, you do, you leave. We really want to help develop that sense of community between teachers. I also wanted to highlight the fact that if some of you have already joined the online teacher community, you probably recognize Simon, because Simon is the first thing you see when you join the online teacher community through an introductory video that we have on the platform. We also just want to highlight that there are a couple of things that we want to achieve through the online teacher community, through all the features and functionality that it offers. And basically that is to develop a greater willingness of teachers to explore new concepts, new ideas, to share their concerns, their ideas and approaches with other teachers, but also to think about how proactively they can address needs of their learners that they identified in their everyday teaching context. We also want to encourage the culture of reflecting on their own practice, and that's why one of the features of the platform called ePortfolio is there, so that we really encourage you to think about what it is that you do in a teaching context, how you can change, how you can improve, what you want to change, and what you want to introduce in your teaching lessons. I'll stop here because, as we mentioned, we'll have a chance to go through all of the key features of the platform with our moderators later on. At this stage, I would like to just double check that we have Scott on the line, and I think everything is set up. I don't really think that Scott Thornbury needs any additional introduction, and I'm sure that you've seen some of Scott's webinars and sessions through the Global Teaching English website, and it's really good that we can introduce Scott now, because he's been with us on this journey since November. So Scott was one of the presenters in the event that we had last November. He's done a couple of these sessions around the online teacher community for us in a number of countries across the region. So I'm really happy to be able to introduce Scott now and hand it over to him for what I know will be a very interactive and a very dynamic session. So Scott, if everything is okay tech-wise, over to you.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you. Just give me the thumbs up if you can hear me, see me. Yep, great. Hi, Simon, John, and fellow guests. It's a great privilege and pleasure to be here at the launch of this event. I'm speaking to you from Spain. I'm going to start, before I go into my presentation, I'm going to start with a little warm-up activity. So there's something here in my room, on my desk perhaps, that you can't see, yeah, but it's rather special to me, and you have to guess what it is, yeah, by asking me questions, yeah. So you can put the questions into the Q&A, but they must be yes, no questions, yeah, not WH questions. You can't say what is it. So let's I'm going to be the teacher Here's my little blackboard. So, for example, what's a question like this? This is a yes/no question. Is it made of da 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 da? Okay. Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah. Or is it bigger or smaller than, etc. Yeah. Those kinds of questions. So something that I have here now that's special to me, you have to ask the questions and guess what it is. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm expecting a little lag here because you're all so far away, but I hope I'm in the right place.
Yes, we're waiting for comments too. Okay, there's the first question. Is it expensive?
Aha. No, Marina, thank you. Good, I've got you. No, it's not expensive. In fact, it was a gift. Yeah, so it didn't cost me anything. Any more questions? Thank you for Marina for starting.
Is it smaller or bigger than a computer?
It's smaller than a computer, Maya. Thank you for reading out.
Is it made of wood?
It's not made of wood, but good question.
Is it made of plastic?
It's not made of plastic. Thank you, Fatima. Are they three? No, Saldanat. I know what you're looking at, but it's not those. No. Good guess, though. It's not made of plastic. It's not made of wood. It's smaller than a computer. It's not a book. Is it in the shape of a square? No, Sona, it's not in the shape of a square. Maybe you want to ask about what it's used for. It's not made of wood. Is it white? No, it's not white. You can't see it. It's hidden from you. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Is it related to your profession? No. It's not made of paper? No. No, it's not made of silver? No. Okay, what about a question? Is it used for? Yeah, is it used for? Is it alive? No, it's not. Can we eat it? Good question. No, you can't eat it, but you're getting warm. It's not a photo. Is it round? It's kind of round. Yeah, it is kind of. Is it a souvenir? Well, it's it was a gift. Is it a box? No. No, I'm gonna have to tell you. I'm gonna have to show. Is it made of stone? Not made of stone. I don't carry it with me every day, but it's a great question. That's a great question. Okay, I'm going to have to show it to you. I don't use it. It's not a paperweight. It's not edible, Marina. Marina, you're doing very well. I don't use it in your classes except for this activity. Yeah, is it used for cooking? Not for cooking. Not for cooking. Can we buy that? Is it important in our life? It's important in my life, Nazira. It's not an ashtray. No, good. Don't smoke. So methodological. It's made of ceramics. Yes, Christina, it's made of ceramics. It's made of ceramics. Okay, I'm going to show you. Put you out of your misery. This is it. Can you see it? You see? It's a dear little cup. Yeah, it's a cup, and or a mug or something, and it's made of ceramics. And it's very special to me. Now you can ask me why. You can ask me WH questions, yeah? Like where did I get it? Who gave it to me? Can you see the design on it? You might be able to guess. Hang on, let me just scroll down. It's a mask kind of thing. Yeah, it's in fact a Japanese mask. Yeah, it's a, I'll tell you, it was given to me by a student of mine who works in Japan, yeah? And so it's a Japanese mug, and it's got, what I like about it, it's got these little, you can't see them, little wee finger holes here that you can hold it by. See, it has no handle, but it has these little impressions. Okay, brilliant. Okay, that's proves to me that you're wide awake and that you're participating. Now I'm going to go into the presentation. And again, if you can't see this, let me know.
We can see it.
You can. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit of background to this talk. I'm a teacher trainer. I work in Spain. I work on pre-service courses and I work on in-service courses. and like the delta and the celta, etc. And one of the things that me and my colleagues noted about 20 years ago when we were training was that our students, our trainee teachers, while they seemed very committed to a communicative approach, we were not seeing a lot of communication in their classrooms, not a lot of real communication. Just to give you a flavor, this is from another couple of writers who noticed the same thing. And they said, this is way back in the 1990s, in spite of trendy jargon and textbooks, in spite of all the talk about communicative language teaching and information gap activities, etc., very little is actually communicated in the second language classroom. And they go on to say learners, they give an example, do not find room to speak as themselves, to use language and communicative encounters, to create text, to create original text, to stimulate responses from fellow learners, and to find solutions to relevant problems. Now, that was made by a couple of writers in 1991, but it was very much what we were discovering in our classes. And one of the reasons we thought that there was so little real communication in the classes, one of the reasons was maybe had something to do with the materials or the relationship between the teacher and the learner and the materials. If you think of a traditional classroom, there's the teacher, there's the materials, and there's the learners. And traditionally, the line of transmission, if you like, is from the teacher through the materials to the learners. So the teacher says, good morning, class, how are you today? Open your books, page 56. Juanita, what's the answer to number 1? Yeah. And this was in 1990s, end of last century, and there were a lot of materials. And the teachers had to get through all these materials. But what was not happening was a lot of direct communication between the teacher and the learners themselves. So we started training teachers to open up that line of communication, leaving the materials aside a little, not completely, but a little, not basing every lesson on the materials, but making the learners the content of the lesson. Because we believed in this principle stated by the late Earl Stevick way back in 1980. Success in language teaching depends less on materials, techniques, linguistics, and more on what goes on inside and between the people in the classroom. So we wanted to focus our training on what goes on inside and between the people in the classroom. Now, we don't have a lot of control what goes on inside, but we can certainly control what happens between people in the classroom. So I started a group online, a discussion group based on an article I wrote. This was our philosophy, if you like. This was our mission statement. We're looking for ways of exploiting the learning opportunities offered by the raw material of the classroom, the raw material. That is the language that emerges from the needs, interests, concerns, and desires of the people in the room. The language that emerges, from the conversations. That's the content of the lesson, or at least some lesson. That was the principle. And so this discussion generated a lot of comments and ideas and practical ideas. And in 2009, I think it was, me and my colleague Luke Meddings wrote a book where we tried to bring some of these ideas together. And there were 3 basic principles we wanted to focus on. First of all, the group was called Dogma, by the way. I'm not going to go into all the background of that. You can look it up online, Dogma ELT, but also known as Teaching Unplugged. Dogma is about teaching that is conversation driven, not materials driven, not grammar driven, not technology driven, but conversation driven. And teaching, therefore, Dogma is about teaching that is materials light. We don't need a lot of materials to get a conversation going. But very importantly, that conversation is the content, the syllabus, the curriculum, if you like, of the language class. So it's about focusing on the language that comes up. That is the material, not the language in the course book necessarily, but the language that comes out of the students. So activities to do that need to be genuinely communicative. Yeah, genuinely communicative. What does that mean? Genuinely communicative. I'll show you in a minute. They need to provide opportunities for repetition, because repetition is good for language learning, but I don't mean mindless repetition. I'll explain in a minute. It has to provide data for language focus. The activity should provide some data that the teacher can use, yeah? And they need to build a supportive learning community. Now, when I say communicative, what I mean by that is, look at these two pictures. Which one shows communication? Yeah, A or B? Which one shows communication? And let me see, you can put in the answer if you like into the box. Which one shows communication? Now I'm going to argue that it is A is not about communication, it's about interaction. Yeah, the people are interacting, but they're not necessarily communicating. Now look at the difference. B, the second person is listening, so there's communication and processing. Yeah, communication means listening and processing and responding to that whatever you heard. Whereas interaction, students can be talking to each other, but not listening to each other. Yeah, so genuine communication needs to be picture B, because if communication is the aim of language teaching, if communication is the aim, then it should be the major element in the process. That was Dick Allwright way back in 1979, one of the architects of the communicative approach. If communication is the aim, then it should be the major element in the process. Make it central, not as a kind of byproduct of teaching languages, but as the process of teaching languages. And I said opportunities for repetition. Now, I don't mean repetition like drilling, although I mean there's nothing wrong with drilling, but it's not very communicative. I mean repetition of tasks, repetition of the whole activity, doing it again with another partner maybe, but doing it again, yeah? Lots of opportunities for repetition as well as repeating language. Remember the activity we just did, yeah, with the guessing game, there was lots of repetition. Is it made of, is it made of, is it made of, is it made of, is it, can you use it for, etc. That's good, that's good. But if we do the game again, we can recycle that language and maybe teach some new expressions. So a typical teaching unplugged task cycle is something like this, where you give a stimulus. Yeah, that is the, yeah, and I'll show you some examples of stimulus in a minute. The students practice, they rehearse, they get feedback, they get some kind of focus on form, on the language they're using, and then they perform. Yeah, rehearsal, feedback, focus on form, performance, and then maybe they repeat the cycle. So that's the idea behind a teaching unplugged task cycle. The activities, as I said, need to provide data for language focus, because that is the raw material. Yeah, here is an example. I'll explain this activity in a minute, but this is a student doing what I call a paper conversation. Two teenage students in my class in Spain. Yeah? Hello, Pablo. Hello, Albert. What did you do last weekend? It isn't your problem, says Albert. Yeah. Now I'm going. So they're passing a paper backwards and forwards. Yeah? It's like texting. One writes a question, hands it back. They're having a conversation, but it's written, not spoken. And the advantage of that is that I can use this data, yeah, for my teaching. I can take this conversation and I can look at it overnight and I can find some interesting issues and make that the content of my next lesson. And finally, activities need to build a mutually supportive learning community, because you don't get communication if students don't get on with each other. So very important is the classroom dynamic. As these writers and a book about dynamics, by far the most important factor promoting inter-member acceptance, yeah, acceptance between the members of the group, that is to say trust, is learning about each other as much as possible, which includes sharing genuine personal information. Genuine personal information doesn't have to be like, you know, what is your worst fear? Or what, you know, what was the most terrible thing that happened to you when you were a child? No, General personal information is about my favorite object. Yeah, it's safe, it's real, it's easy to talk about. Everybody has one. Yeah, so okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to just go through a few activity types with you that are consistent with the ideas of Dogma or Teaching Unplugged. And I want to demonstrate that these are possible online. Yeah, that's the point. They're possible online. Now, we just did the guessing game. Yeah, you were guessing this. But here's another guessing game. Here's a picture. Yeah, lots of people in the picture. I'm going to choose a person in the picture, which is me. Yeah, it's a secret, but you have to guess. Yeah, so you have to ask yes/no questions to find out which person I am. Yeah, so first of all, the teacher does it, and then the students can do it in pairs. And so if you want to just shove in some questions there. Okay, so the questions, I'm a person in this picture, but I'm not going to tell you. And can you ask yes/no questions? Getting a bit of a lag here. I'm just assuming that you're asking questions like, are you the woman riding the bicycle? Yeah. Are you the boy with the dog? Yeah. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And you keep going until you find the answer. That's easy kind of stuff. Bit of vocabulary maybe to check on, but very, very, that's a guessing game. Yeah. Guessing games are great because you have to listen. You have to listen. I have to listen to your question and you have to listen to my answer. That's communication. It's not just interaction, it's communication. Okay, and it can be about real things and so on. Describe and draw. Describe and draw. Let's do one. Whoops. Get out of here. Where's the little menu? It might come up. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here's my little blackboard. I bought it this morning in the village. Okay. Okay. Into the question. Into the chat box. Answer this question. What's this? Little geometry lesson.
So we're just waiting for responses to appear in the chat box. Just give us a couple of seconds.
Okay. I'm watching the chat box. I've got it on my mobile. So no excuse for not answering the question. Okay, so what's this? The last question came through is, are you married? I don't think that. Oh, here we go. Triangle, triangle, triangle. Yes. Here we go. Okay. And what is this? That should be easy. You're on the right track now. Triangle, 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 triangle. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going. Okay, square. Good. And what is this? Yep, a circle. And what is this? Not very good. Not very special, but you got the idea. Yes, rectangle. Okay, now where is the triangle in relation to the square? Where is the triangle in relation to the square? Okay, I'm just scrolling down. Yep. Okay, so yeah, it's on the left of the square, or yes, it's next to the square. Okay, where is the circle in relation to the square? And we so on and so on, so on. It's on the right. Where is the square in relation to the circle and the triangle? It's between. Okay, and where is the rectangle in relation to the square? It's under. Yeah, okay, you got the idea. So I'm not going to waste your time. So a little bit of geometry. Now I'm going to describe a combination of those shapes and you have to draw it. Yeah, you have to draw it. So listen carefully and draw what I describe. Okay, so on a piece of paper, on the left, there is a square. Okay, on the left, there is a square. On the right, there is a triangle. Between the square and the triangle, there is a rectangle. Am I going too fast? Inside the square, we didn't do inside, there's a triangle. And inside the triangle, the other triangle, there's a circle. Okay, let's just go back and see if we can retrieve the presentation. Yeah, so this is what I just described. Yeah, did you have that? Now, if we're working online, you could show me your picture on the camera, yeah, on the webcam, and I could check. And then the students do it with each other. Yeah, the students do it with each other. I'm just demonstrating, but the important thing is the students, so they design their own picture. Now it doesn't, here's one, it doesn't have to be triangles and squares. It could be a room. Yeah, on the left there's a small sofa, on the right there's a bigger sofa. Yeah, on the wall there's a painting, etc., etc. Or it could be an island, yeah, in the center, etc. Here's what a teacher, a trainer of mine who teaches in Jordan did with her students. Yeah, she described an island with a volcano, and she had some text in the description as well. And this is what one of the students did. Yeah, so fantastic activity. You can do it with all sorts of different things, and students don't have to be able to draw. Describe and choose. This is what these students are doing here. This is an iconic communicative activity. Yeah, so students are in pairs. They have a picture of a group of faces. One chooses a face, describes it. The other one has to say which face it is. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be faces. It can be people on bikes. Yeah, it can be islands. Yeah, so I have 9 islands. You listen, I'm going to describe one. You have to tell me which one it is. It's fantastically communicative. Or you can get pictures for higher levels, pictures from the internet. Surveys. I love doing surveys. At the beginning of every chapter, every unit in the course book, whatever the topic, do a survey about it. If it's nutrition, do a survey. If it's travel, do a survey about it. If it's shopping, do a survey about it. Find out what people do or know, yeah, and get the students to create the survey. Here's a very simple one, an activity which you can adapt for any grammatical structure. So students in groups, they have to generate as many true sentences as possible using this model. One of us can speak Turkish, yeah? 2 of us can, and so on, so on, so on. And then they report their questions to the group, and you can change the grammar depending on what you're teaching. But what you get is true sentences about the students. And to get those sentences, they have to talk to each other. They have to ask each other questions. Yeah, and you can do this online. They go into the breakout room and they generate all the sentences. Or they can do a survey in groups, breakout rooms. I do this in my classrooms, my physical classrooms. Create a survey, a questionnaire to ask the rest of the students in the class. They go and ask the other students in groups. They go back to their original group to collate. Yeah. So 1 out of 10 students in the class goes running every day. Yeah, for example, and then they report the results to the class. Fantastic sequence. And you can give them language for reporting. And you can do that online. You can do that online. This third stage is going back to the original group. It's a little bit complicated, but if you work at it. Paper conversation. I showed you this paper conversation. Yeah, start every lesson with a paper conversation. So they're passing the paper backwards and forwards, and you have wonderful material, and they have another way of finding out about you. And you can do that online, or you can do that on WhatsApp. This is again my trainee teachers in Jordan. This is an example. Show and tell. I mean, who doesn't do show and tell? Yeah, I've showed you my cup. I can tell you about my cup instead of asking questions. First of all, I'm going to show it to you, tell you about it, and then you can ask me questions. Here's a group of students doing it online with Nick Bilber in the middle and the Hands Up project doing an activity with different age groups. And the girl on the right is showing a jacket that she is very fond of. And you can give them structures to follow, yeah? Things you can say. This is was given to me by, etc., 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 to give them a scaffold. Collaborative writing. This I do in my classrooms. I've done it with adults, with children. This is one idea for collaborative writing. I tell them, let me show you this example. This is me with a group of children in Russia. So children I never met before, and there's about 20 of them. I told them I've been in Russia for 3 days, which was true. You have to write a story about my trip to Russia. Now, how they're going to do that? They're going to have to ask me questions, but they don't ask the questions. They write the questions on pieces of paper. So I give the pieces of paper to the groups. They write their question, and then they bring the question to me, or I collect the question and I write the answer. Yeah, and when they've got enough questions and answers, they start to write the text. So here's me collecting the questions, and then I write the answers. While I'm doing that, they write more questions, etc. And there they're writing the text, and this is the text one group wrote. Scott's trip to Russia. As we know, Scott came to Russia not a lot of time ago. In the short time, he visited Moscow and Yaroslavl. In Moscow, he visited Red Square, the Kremlin, blah, 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 blah. It's fantastic writing. So where do they get that from? They got that from my answers, but they had to put them into order, and they had to work collaboratively to do that. Now, you can do that online. You may need to make a few adjustments, but it's a fantastic activity, and it doesn't have to be about me. It could be about one of the other students, and they give that student the questions. And a discussion. Discussions work fine online. Here's a discussion we could have now. Yeah, I've given you 6, 7 activities. Yeah, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. I'm not, but you imagine. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. Okay, breakout room number 1, I want you to discuss questions 1 and 2. Breakout room number 2, 3 and 4. Breakout room number 5 and 6, yeah? So which activity did you like best? Which activity works best online? Yeah, and so on. But you can do a discussion about anything. But you let the students choose, perhaps, which sentences they want to discuss. Yeah, and then so important is that they report. They report the discussion. Why should they report it? Because if they know they have to report it, they maybe will pay more attention when they're having the discussion. Also, when you report something, it has to be correct. Yeah, it has to be better than it was when they were just discussing in groups. Yeah, so you might need to give them some reporting language. Okay, so those are the activities we did. Guessing game, and this is whether you can adapt them to online, and I think you can. Guessing game, easy, we did it. Describe and draw, easy. Surveys, easy. Paper conversation, yes, with WhatsApp or whatever. Show and tell, easy. Collaborative writing, yeah, easy-ish. And discussion and report, easy. And that, wow, we've got 5 minutes. And I'm just going to do another activity which I love before we have any time for questions, because I love doing this activity because it really works really nicely online. So I want you to look at me and where I am, yeah, because in a minute I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to change 3 things, and you have to guess what I changed. Okay, you have to look very closely. Are you ready? Okay, so camera off. You ready? Camera off. Okay. I'm changing 3 things. Da-di-da-di-da, la la la. You can't hear me. Da-di-da-di-da. Okay. Okay, right, in the chat box, before I show you, guess what things I changed. Are you ready?
We don't see you yet, Scott. You need to turn on the camera.
I know, I know. But you have to guess before I turn the camera on, you have to guess what I might have changed. And then I'll turn the camera on.
We're just waiting for replies to start appearing.
Okay. I've got the question answer open. So 3 things you think I might have changed, and then I'll show you to see if you are correct. Your clothes, that's not a sentence. Yeah, I want a sentence because this is a language class. What did I change about my clothes? Your room, no. Ooh, I want a sentence. I want a sentence. That's not a sentence. Bowls, no, I want a sentence. This is a language class. Don't forget, we're all students. Ah, have you changed your appearance? Yes, I have, but how, Zukra? Bowls is not a sentence. Ah, okay, Janet, one of the 3 cups on the shelf is gone. Plates is not a sentence. Ah, you may have changed a laptop. That is a sentence. Good. Any more sentences? I want sentences, not words. Okay, we're running out of time. I want a sentence. Books is not a sentence. You've got to be really insistent. Yeah, if you're a teacher, you have to remind them this is a language class. Okay, cups, books, notebook. Okay, something. Yeah. Well, you're right, but I'm not getting a lot of sentences here. Okay, I'll show you, and you can tell me what I've changed. Okay. And again, I want full sentences. Thank you, Domino. I think you've changed the books, but I haven't. Can you see? It's not the computer. Okay, you changed your t-shirt? No. No. You heard? I have changed my clothes. How? No, I haven't, Christine, not to the books. Well, you're very observant, though. Okay, so one of the bowls is missing. Yeah, okay, I changed one of the bowls. No, I haven't. Ah, Tatiana, you've taken off your glasses and I put on different glasses. Very well observed. And finally, yeah, what's this? I've changed my jacket. I put a jacket on. Okay, right, you get the idea. We're practically out of time. But that's another guessing activity that you can do, and it works really well online. But I think you need to be insistent, yeah, because this is a language class that the students produce full sentences. And then they do it with each other. Yeah, they can do it with each other. They have a volunteer who changes something, turns the camera off, etc. Yeah, but full sentences. This is a language class. Yeah. Okay, Maya, I have come to, it's practically 1 o'clock here, which means it's 5 o'clock there.
Yes.
So I'll hand back to you.
Thank you. And I've noticed one question that just flew by very quickly. What, in your opinion, is the biggest challenge of teaching online?
Well, keeping...
We left the easy one for the end.
Yeah. Keeping the students engaged and attentive, and you keep them engaged and attentive by doing activities like I've been demonstrating today, which are communicative, personal, yeah, about their real lives, and where there's a focus on language, yeah. So the focus on language in this last activity is you have changed your jacket, yeah. So we can look at that and say, okay, what's the tense here, etc., etc. We don't pre-teach it, we pull it out of the students who said the correct sentence. Yeah, so there's always a focus on language, but it's engaging, communicative, and personalized.
Great, thank you, and perfect timing. So thank you once again, Scott, for joining us. I hope the teachers enjoy this, and I would just like to reiterate again that it's great having you with us on all of these launch events around the online teacher community. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Maya. Same to you. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye. So it was really good to see so many different comments and questions in the chat box, and it was really good to witness the level of engagement from teachers. So I hope that we maintain that throughout the event, and I'll hand it over now to John to introduce our next speaker. You're on mute, John, just so you know. It should be fine now. Can you say something?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's fine.
Great, very sorry about that. We were to have Anna Kalazhanova, but we are in luck that we have our great friend and partner, Tatiana Letyakina, the president of KazTEA, as our next presenter. Tatiana, over to you.
Thank you so much, John. I'm happy to present. And this time I wouldn't speak as a KazTEA president, but I would present the joint projects of us. Well, I'm speaking about joint projects between institutions, between different organizations. And to start with, I will move to the presentation. Okay, and now you should see the website. Hopefully, well, it's visible to everybody. And will you please give me yes, no to something that it's visible to you? John, will you help me so it's visible to?
We can see it.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Maya. Okay, well, my talk and our talk relates to active learning via social networks and best practices and challenges from Kazakhstan. So I guess, well, this talk would be interesting for teachers and for our experts, international experts, and they would consider these challenges of us when they prepare some materials, resources for this online teacher community platform. So let's start. And to start with, well, so Scott was speaking about interaction between well, teacher and students. So, but this time I would speak about, well, interaction both between teacher and students via online and between students and resources without the assistance of a teacher, because online platforms and web applications give these opportunities, well, great opportunities for students to cooperate and to interact with resources on their own. And, well, let us recall, well, the experiences of Kazakhstan teachers within the last year. So they work with different, well, online platforms, and thanks to the Ministry of Education, so school, secondary school teachers and high school teachers were provided with some online platforms like Bilim Online, Bilim Media, or any others, so they are more knowledgeable with these platforms. But I would say that, well, the least skill that was developed within this year, I'm afraid, well, belong to productive skills. They are like speaking and writing skills. So within our, well, project, so we try to compensate this gap and develop speaking and writing skills with our students, so with different applications. But to start with, let's recall sub skills of speaking, and they are like fluency, accuracy, and our students are expected to sustain their communication and respond accordingly, logically well towards this or that response. So as for fluency, I'm happy to share the experience of Zalia Jacobaeva. She is a teacher from Nazarbayev School in Almaty, and as you see, well, her photo, she's a real creative teacher, and she does her best in order to involve her students into into interactive teaching, into interactive learning, and share their best practices via video. So everybody of you would agree that our students are happy to do recordings and shoot this or that video. Oh yes, I have to go back, sorry. And because I want you to hear them. Let me start from the beginning. Not from the beginning, but yes, I should add the sound. So now it's visible, the YouTube, and you should hear.
Hello, my name is Kazakh. I'm 9. I'm wearing a white top and pink skirt and blue socks. Goodbye.
She is cute, and you should have recognized some instructions, some recommendations that were given to teachers, even during the online live session that was run by American Council via Facebook. There was such a recommendation, I remember it perfectly well, that we should provide with authentic instructions. And so there is opportunity, when we employ different applications, to use the realia of our students. So as you see, students are happy to share their materials, their interest, and demonstrate and even boast what they are wearing. For example, practicing present continuous in the topic clothes. So I guess this is a really very nice experience, and both teacher and students enjoy this learning experience of them. But I should say and note that these recordings are mostly done and shared with our teachers via WhatsApp. And everybody of you should be familiar with this experience, knowing that how poor this platform or application is with management. So yeah, we are lost in the stream of all these messages, on the part of our students, and parents probably. So that's why, I wouldn't say that, WhatsApp is the best application for learning. That's why, we employed some other platforms, and one of these examples is Flipgrid. Let me show, and I would ask Maya probably to read some questions and answers if there are such. So let me demonstrate this very platform, and I guess most of you are very familiar with it and you know the way it operates. So we should start with the modeling this or that assignment, which should sound appealing and motivating for our students, meet their interests and needs. So this was the assignment about my last photo, my memorable photo. And this is a speech of mine, and this task and this platform I developed for access students, the instructor of which I'm at the present, in cooperation with the RELAW program, access program, which is like. So we start with the modeling, and I share my own experience to motivate and involve our students. So these are the responses of my students. I would demonstrate their speech, they are quite fine. But if it is visible for you, so do you see in any mismatch or any good points within this very task? If there are any answers, please, or within the chat, probably you can give some ideas. What is good about this platform and what are the challenges or mismatch?
Okay, so just to remind you that there is a bit of a delay on the line before replies start appearing, so we'll just wait for teachers to start posting their comments and questions.
So, but it should be very visible, and you should be really very should have good observation skills. So what is good about this platform and what do you like about this platform? I guess, well, I believe that some of you employ this application in your teaching, whichever level you teach at secondary, primary school, high school, or university, and for postgraduates as well. Any responses so far?
So there's one comment that appeared in the chat box. It's an anonymous user. So the comment is, good ideas are given. However, I would like to know your ideas how to engage the high school students online.
Okay, so to make you notice is that there is a good number of responses of students, and if you see the number of views, there are 4 views, 27 views, 17 views of this or that responses of students, which is quite quite nice. So it means that they enjoy viewing the reports or the messages of their peers. But if you have a look at the number of comments which Flipgrid application provides us, we see that there are very, very few comments to this or that talk of our students. So any ideas and any problems? What might be the problem with our students? Why they are so modest or they are so lazy to write a comment to their peer's speech? Any ideas so far?
Nothing's come up yet, so let's there's just a general comment saying it's very interesting. Can you practice oral skills on the platform is one of the questions.
Definitely, this is for speaking, and later I will demonstrate the samples of speeches of students. So this is for oral speaking, but this application provides some options. It could be oral speech, it could be written. If they feel shy with speaking, they are very welcome to write their response, because, well, as you see, there is an option to text your message. So then it works quite fine. So another good feature of this application is you are very welcome to provide feedback immediately, and this feedback would be given to students, well, confidentially, so there is no chance opportunity for others to see this feedback, well, and the grades for this or that student, which is quite nice. So as for comments, my idea is they are not that lazy. They just feel shy because and embarrassed of making mistakes, or probably they have no idea or little experience of what to say back, what to say in return. This is something that we teachers should assist and should give a hint for our students and encourage them to work for content, but not just for language purposes, for language structures. So it would be really nice just to know their ideas. But what else I like about this application is this opportunity of Immersive Reader, that every student, not only a teacher, is able to see the tape script of their speech. Again, why it is good for students to see the way they sound? Have you ever questioned this to yourself? So why they should see, and it is good to see their raw speech. Sometimes we are recommended to record their speech with dictaphone, but it would take time, yeah, for us teachers to listen back to their speeches and to make the transcript of their speech and then do analysis of their mistakes. But this time, well, every student is able to see by Immersive Reader, which we should be really grateful to Microsoft for this very application. So they can see their speech and find the way they sound. So because, well, every time I say that, well, grammar mistakes could be managed, well, in interaction. It means that they are quite comprehensible. But what should we work at is our pronunciation, sounding, stresses. So, and this is a very good opportunity for students to see the way they sound. What is more, some other options like text preferences or grammar options or reading preferences give them additional opportunities to work with this text. For example, every time I ask my students to add some adjectives or probably adverbs to make their speech more colorful, and it's clearly visible for them of what they should work on. So please, well, employ this very application about Flipgrid. So another option which would work at accuracy, well, another time, well, in doing on TESOL certificate program. Within this program, again, well, I should be grateful to Regional English Language Office, which provided a scholarship for me. So, and there was a course how to develop online course program. So my project, well, related to student fluency via literature recitation. My strong belief is that via literature recitation, a piece of prose or poetry, our students can work and practice their accuracy. Having listened to the model of speech, and in this respect, again, I express my gratitude to Professor Richard Berg, who, well, is a co-author of this very course. So, and he is a conductor of Literature Club, actually, which is run by American Corner in Usk-Melgorsk these very days. So thanks to him, his recitation, students are very welcome to recite a piece of passage. So I want to demonstrate, well, the way they sound, but again, well, I'd love to draw your attention to the feedback of students. So recording your pronunciation, pauses, and intonation was an interesting experience. It's good to identify mistakes while listening to own speech, but it was difficult for me to convey the emotions of the author and at the same time concentrate on the correct pronunciation of words. We need to practice more in speaking. And another response of this feedback of the student was that students are used to work at topics, at academic text, and hardly ever they read or they do something with literature. So this is another point for us, well, to read literature, and it was really, well, difficult and challenging for them to develop the plot of the story, because again, well, they have very little experience in reading literature in English. So please think about it. So, and one more application to develop students' attitude and express their attitude to this or that message. So this is another application of voice thread. Thread, it looks like a thread. So every new message, well, would be added to this thread. Again, this application I developed within Access program, and you can see again few responses, you see. So I do my best to encourage my students to develop their fluency, to start speaking, not just doing exercises, but again and again, well, they might be overloaded with other assignments, but probably they struggle again with technology, or they feel embarrassed to say something in response to. So, and going back, well, to the message of Scott that, well, students interact with teachers, but this is the way students interact with the resource itself. So there was the task given by me, and students were expected to listen to this task at the very beginning, to respond, well, to not to respond, but to say, express their attitude towards this very photo of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris at Reflecting Pool on the eve of the inauguration process, so inauguration ceremony. So to say a few words about their feelings, emotions, and ideas. So, and I should say, well, that some of the students, they started speaking on inauguration ceremony itself, but nothing, well, nothing was about the feelings and emotions of these people. So this is another challenge for our students to comprehend the tasks, the instructions, and so to respond appropriately. Because in future, I'm afraid when they start doing tests like IELTS or TOEFL, and so they are expected to write the response to this or that problem, so they might deviate and start speaking about this or that topic. Because again, well, they are used to speak on that topic, but not on the problem. So these are the issues, well, that we teachers, we should think of and probably change and vary, modify our instructions and involve our students into problem solving, open-ended tasks like this. So this is the part about speaking and developing speaking sub skills, but I have demonstrated you various applications, so and they might be combined on one platform like we do with Google Classroom. Again, this platform should be very familiar to our students, but well, this is the time to present another platform. And I am speaking about Trello, and I am happy to share the experience of Anna Kolizhanova, an instructor from Karaganda-Buketov University, and Rosa Shusupova, associate professor at the Eurasian National University in Astana. So they are happy to share their experiences with Trello as a management system. So, and well, it could be used as a management system, as a project activity facilitating. Well, it could be good for organizing and managing information and developing university students' writing and speaking skills. And again, we would speak about productive skills. And if you have a look at the first slide of them, so it's really nice to use, well, to develop students, well, again, critical thinking and creative, because they are asked to write their review to this or that, well, problem. And it's a really nice, well, opportunity for them to collaborate, to communicate with each other, and to respond to each other message. So it would be added. And I should say that students are quite active. But again, well, so you see, well, there are one or probably three reviewers. You should encourage them to be more cooperative in this way. So another school project, well, is presented while this project was run at gymnasium number 45 in Karaganda. So this is the idea that, well, it could be manipulated at secondary school level, not only at university level. So, and again, well, it's really nice to arrange, to manage, well, these project activities. So as you see, well, you can arrange literature review and some resources for students to investigate, and then their works. So this is the great experience of them within American English MOOC Facilitators Session project, which we run in cooperation again with Real Law. So all these resources and materials, well, participants of this project shared within this Trello board, and well, you can observe, you can read this or that, well, message and respond appropriately. So there is no need to rush to browse this or that application, and link is provided. So, and some other projects we run within this Trello board to develop critical reading and writing skills with Trello. So again, well, instructors provide with some materials for students to investigate, and I guess, well, they were expected to investigate and to read this or that piece of literature or resource on their own. Hopefully, well, instructors and facilitators assisted them with some guidance. So, and you see, well, the students are provided with various resources on this or that strategy, because later the instructors ask them to employ these strategies in their project. So it would be interesting to know the way they facilitate and students interact with these resources, and the way they understand this resource and arrange their activities appropriately. And I'm happy to share the experiences of universities at UNO, and happy to share their video.
I want you to share with your experience of communicating with a foreigner. What surprised you or what was new for you? And if there was no communication experience with a foreigner, you can tell me an interesting story of what you have heard or seen in film.
Today I'd like to speak about my cultural experience in Europe. When I first arrived there, I was struck by the cleanliness of everything, and then I was struck by the presence of homeless people in a country like France, because until that time I didn't know. I mean, I couldn't imagine that there might be such people in a city like Paris, you know.
That people from India like to speak very loudly, and they used a lot of gestures while speaking. It took a time for me to get used to their way of conversing, but surprisingly we get on very well.
It was so interesting for me because it demonstrated the crucial problem of structural racism in the 1960s, in 20th century, in the most tolerant country in the world.
Yes, as you see, it really unites well different people with different background, experience, language skills, and make them communicate and collaborate. But there are some challenges. If you want while Trello works, teacher first of all must be proactive. Must be, because well, we have to start and encourage our students to appeal to this very board or another application and web platform and be active in processing this and working in this or that platform. So another challenge is, again, well, Anna and Rosa emphasize that students will tend to be, they're happy to like, and this board provides with voting option function. So, and students are very happy to vote for this or that project. So, but as for commenting on this or that idea, so they feel not embarrassed, but they feel embarrassed to criticize. So you see, well, this is the role of the teacher to develop these criteria for assessment, to give feedback, to be objective, to sound objective. These are what we need to develop with our students, to sound objective in our feedbacks and to give some recommendations, to think positively but not to criticize. So these are the experiences and challenges of Kazakhstan teachers. I guess, well, we gave some thoughts to our international partners and experts, and we hope they would address some of these challenges when they would develop these resources for the online teaching community. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to respond. Let me see if there are any questions new. I guess, well, there is no new.
Can you send the links to find these apps?
Oh yes, sure. Well, I can do it well within this question and answer chat option, and even I can start with Mira board. As you see, well, Mira board is really nice too, and I guess, well, believe August will speak about it later.
Okay, my guess is that on the online teaching community, there probably is some place where this can be published. There's another question: which platform is useful for students to improve their writing and speaking skills?
So these very platforms. Okay, well, shall I go back? Well, just for a second to demonstrate these options, opportunities. So, well, for example, if you look at voice thread, you've got microphone, you've got camera, and you've got text. So as you see, every of these, the same is true about Flipgrid. Every of these, well, application provides you with this opportunity to develop speaking and and writing skills.
Okay,
For the question.
thank you. There's a question, I think this question is about security. It says, can you set up systems to stop other people like adults from accessing the apps?
Oh yes, well, this is the question to the IT specialist, but well, I do believe that these systems are quite safe because, well, before we've been practicing this for a year and there was no intrusion on the part of other strangers, so only participants during these applications, and they are provided with emails, so you can directly email your students, so that's why that's fine.
Yeah, thanks. The same person wrote a clarification. I mean to stop adults accessing the children's work, pictures, and details. And I think in a closed group like this, a small group, it's fairly easy to monitor the goings on. So yeah, I agree with you there. Let's see. Let me see if I can find another question. Lots of thank yous. People are very appreciative of your presentation. Let's see. The links. Can you please send a list of names if the apps are described? I think that we've talked about that. Let me go back into the questions.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that, well, some of the participants, well, before they joined sub-sessions with August, with the American Live series, so they're very familiar with this, and hopefully not only familiar, but you have started using, applying these applications in your teaching experience. And another time, you are very welcome to take part in our webinars, KazTEA webinars, and probably in future on online teacher community to share your experience and the way you address the challenges I have just now mentioned.
And John, I don't know whether you noticed one of the comments. So it says, it's just a general comment, it isn't a question, from one of the teachers saying, nowadays the problem with teenagers is that there is no desire to read or to write. It is not only in English language classes, but in their mother tongues and other school classes as well. So that's just a general comment from a teacher on the line.
Thanks, Maya. There was a question from a gentleman named Simon Etherton. He said, which one of these is your favorite and why? Which is your favorite app? Good question.
Thank you for the question. Yes, well, my favorite is Flipgrid because it provides even more. Well, it provides with the Grid Pal. So this option function I haven't investigated yet, but it gives the opportunity to communicate with pals around the world. So there is something to investigate even more.
Thank you, Tatiana. Another question from Nazarke. She said, is this platform free? And I'm guessing she means all of them. Are they all
of
free?
them are free, yes, definitely. So definitely there is a pro version. So, but even while with free version, there is a lot to investigate and to do.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Yes, please.
Do you ever ask, and as we know these days, our students are very technologically adept, and definitely many of them are far ahead of me. Do you ever ask them to research online technologies and apps and the things that they see, and then maybe bring these into the classroom?
Yes, there is one more challenge for me as a teacher to investigate Minecraft.
Minecraft?
Yes, so this is another step for me, yes, well, to join and to investigate what it is like in order to recruit for teaching and learning. So, but I believe that it's really great application, website, platform. What is it like? Yes. So, but yes, definitely they give some advice on the use of these apps. So Minecraft, please believe me, yeah, this is another step for us to investigate.
Yeah, I don't know Minecraft either. There's another
okay,
one here.
Ask your son, he will explain what is it.
Luckily, he's not there yet. He's not doing Minecraft. We'll keep it a secret between you and me because I don't want him to use it.
No, it's really great, well, because it's something absolutely different to learning English. So they are involved. It's gamification. So.
Yeah. I think we've got this is kind of a comment because there isn't another question. It's from Zamjagul in Kazgan. She said, during our webinars and sessions with Benjamin, I think Ben Taylor and August Guernsey, I've copied the links to various platforms and apps to my Padlet and now share with my colleagues. And so Zamjagul is mentioning the use of Padlet, and I think that's something that has spread very widely across teachers in Kazakhstan these days.
That's really nice. So Padlet, it could be Trello, that's true. So they are really nice management system, learning management system.
Yeah. It looks like our time is about up. To close, an anonymous person said Minecraft is great, but it isn't free. So we'll end with that. Tatiana, thank you so much thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. It was very nice interacting with you and our audience. I think I will turn the microphone back over to Maya to introduce our next guests.
Great. Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much, Tatiana. And as a follow-up to the overall event, we will be sending around a link to a survey, but we will also send links to things that our presenters refer to in their session, so you will be able to explore that later on. I'm really happy to now introduce our two presenters, Melissa Thompson and Theodora Naiba, and they are our global moderators within the online teacher community. They will talk about professional development through communities of practice and more practically focus on what exactly you can do within the online teacher community. So Theo and Melissa, over to you.
Thank you. So
thank you.
Thanks very much, Maya. So hi, I'm Melissa, and it's really great to meet you today. I'll be joined with my colleague Theo Naiba, and we're two of the e-moderators on the platform that we're here to introduce today. So to explain what that means, when I say that we're the e-moderators, we're like your guides to the platform. We're the people that you'll see in the introduction videos inside the platform. We are people that you'll meet in the webinars, and you'll see our profile pictures on the forums a lot. So I'm really happy that we can meet today because we're going to see a lot more of each other. And we're here today to talk about professional practices, communities of practice, and explain a bit about the site itself. So Theo, can you help me by going to the next slide?
Of course. Here I
am. So we want to show you the platform because we want you to feel confident and familiar with the key features. And by doing that, we hope that we'll help you understand what you can find in our community of practice. And along the way, we'll give you some tips for that as well. So let's get started. I want to ask you about your CPD experience, because I used to meet every Friday with the other teachers from my school. We would sit around tables and we would discuss sometimes something practical. Maybe someone would bring a new activity that they used for group work, or something maybe more theoretical, like maybe we had to change our assessment system or something like that. It was very personal and it was very close, and I really loved them until the pandemic started and we went online. So we had experiences that look a bit more like the next picture, which is number 2. And this was everyone online. Something changed here, and we weren't only our school together, we actually joined with lots of schools around the network. So instead of 25 colleagues, I suddenly had 200 colleagues that I could speak and meet with. So we started forming much smaller specialized groups, and I really liked that. Tell us in the chat, have you had or do you have now the experience in picture number 1? And have you had ever the experience of doing professional development like picture number 2? So it'd be great to know something about that. So while you write your answers in the chat, I'll tell you what I reflected. Now I have both opportunities because I'm able to go back on a Friday afternoon and chat with my colleagues. I can go and observe them in the class. I can show physical pieces of student work. But I also love the online experience. I can read something, go away, think about it, try it out, and then come back and talk about it. I'm not stuck with time. So I want both of them now. And I hope that you have the chance to have both as well. I hope that you're back with number 1 in the staff room, in the teacher's room, and we want to provide you with number 2. So let's see if we have any answers in the chat.
Melissa, I would kindly ask you to keep an eye on the chat because I cannot see it. So
yeah,
please let us know what the teachers say.
So some people say they have had only number 2, which is interesting. Okay, that means that you've already got experience working online with other teachers, and so then you'll be able to bring a lot of valuable experience to the platform. Okay, we've got a mix. Let's go to the next slide and think about one main question. When you're listening to us today, think about what you expect from this online community, because one of the important things about the online community is that it's personal. It has lots of different options for lots of different teachers. You might want to participate in forums and webinars, or you might prefer to only participate in special interest groups or in a portfolio. So I want you to think about what you expect while you're listening, and hopefully we'll answer your questions connected to the areas that you're interested in. All right, I think the time has come to look at the platform itself. So I'm going to give you to my colleague Theo now, and she's going to show you some of the important features of the platform.
Thank you, Melissa. So something that Melissa hasn't mentioned is our hidden aim, actually. We want to spread enthusiasm for this platform, to be honest. And we want you to feel at home here in our, belonging to a community which we can create together. So let us show you some of the features of this platform. First of all, you know what they say, in order to know where you are going, you need to know where you are. So you can start by using the self-assessment tool that will help you identify your teaching skills at this moment. And if you're true to yourself, if you're honest, you will be able to actually plan your continuous professional development, your CPD. And that's why you are here, to know where you are and to find a lot of opportunities to plan your continuous professional development. And this tool here will offer you this opportunity. What you can see here is some of the tabs that are on the main page, and they are very easy to navigate. To be honest, all you have to do is just click on them and something will open. Let me give you a piece of advice from the very beginning. Don't be afraid to explore. I mean, click on everything just to see what is hidden behind. Nothing wrong can happen. And, this is how we learn, by exploring. This is the best way to learn, by, experimenting. So I started showing you this because, as I said, it's important to know where you are so that you can plan further. Let me introduce you something that we called my personal space, but it's actually a profile, my profile, and the portfolio, something that we are really fond of. And I'm going to tell you a bit more in a second. So first of all, my profile will allow you to, as you can see, clicking on your picture or on your name, actually first, you will see my profile which can be edited. And here you can add something a bit about yourself, maybe something about your teaching background, something that everybody on the platform will actually see. Everybody will see probably where you are from, or what group ages you are teaching, what you want to share, just a few words. And of course, you can add a picture of yourself if you want, as you can see here. And as I said, everybody on the platform will be able to see, but you will have another opportunity to share more about you with the community and with the people in the community, and I will show it later in a second. Now, something else. Let me show you something that we really think it's one of the best benefits, if I can say that, on this community. Something that we really like is My Portfolio, a place where it's your place. Okay, so this is really important. This is yours. This is a place where you can upload, for example, your certificate, so that you can keep everything in one place. You can upload the certificates that you get here online in our community by attending webinars or completing courses. As you can see in the drop-down menu, you have My Courses as well. You can also upload here your reflections, because you know, this is one of the most important tools of for your professional development, your reflections. And we also provided you with a kind of template to help you structure a bit your reflections. So you can see a teacher journal in April 2021. Monthly, you will get a template for each for each month. And there you can write your reflections. Maybe they are related to your teaching, maybe they are related to your experience on this platform, but it's very important that they are your own. And it gives you the opportunity to store things here and also to come back whenever you feel necessary. And of course, in your teacher journal, you can add the resources that your colleagues shared. Everything that will help you improve your teaching, but also will make your life as a teacher easier. Why not? And something else that you can find My Portfolio is resources. Okay, and there are a lot of resources there, but Melissa will also tell you a bit more in a second. So this is one of the tools that we feel is quite useful on this platform. Melissa, can you tell us something more about other tabs, maybe?
Yeah, of course, of course. So here's the rest of the platform that you can see. And just quickly looking at the chat, someone has asked, is this platform available for free? Yes, of course, this is completely free. This is the British Council initiative for teachers in many countries, including Kazakhstan. So yeah, you don't have to pay anything to be part of our community of practice. So you can see in the tabs, you can see there's a help tab. So there's someone there to give you technical help. Our team, you can see some videos from us welcoming you. There's me, Theo, and there's another 4 moderators that you'll also meet when you join. In Action Research, there's a document that will tell you a bit more about, or it's like a guide to help you start a research project. And then forums we'll come back to later. So if you scroll down the page, you'll see something like this. You'll see a calendar, which is next to the number 1. For example, if you wanted tomorrow, you could come to a webinar on 21st century skills. That's with you, isn't it, Theo?
Yes, it is. So please join.
So if you want to meet Theo again tomorrow, register today. You'll meet her again. So that's a webinar for members of the platform only. Or also tomorrow, you could join a global webinar based on some new innovative materials. Next to number 2 is a handy tab. It tells you when the next webinar is. So that's easy to see when you first log on. And number 3 tells you the concept of the week and the publication of the month. So there's always new information coming through. Every time you come on the platform, there's something new to see. So one tip is try to visit maybe, I don't know how many times, I would say maybe twice a week. Maybe you get a reply in a forum and you don't want to leave that person waiting too long. So you could wait a few days and then log in. You could make it part of your every kind of Monday afternoon practice after your first day at school to log on and see what's new. So that's one of my big tips. Log in often, but it doesn't have to be for a long time. It can just be for a couple of minutes to plan the experience. So another important feature is, let's go to the next slide, the special interest groups, which we shorten to SIG because it's much easier to say. So I told you there were 6 moderators. Well, in fact, there are 6 special interest groups. ICT in Education with Natalia, 21st Century Skills with Theo, Special Educational Needs with Sarah, Action Research with Maria Jose, Multilingual Matters with me, Melissa, and Climate Action with Christiana. These special interest groups are based around the 12 professional practices that you will see in the self-assessment. So if you want to join a group but you're not sure which one, do the self-assessment first and that will guide you. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, but what is this group? What happens? Well, when you register, when you enroll, which I'll show you how to do, super easy. You see the red arrow? This is the way you enroll for a webinar or for a special interest group. You click on enroll and then it takes you to the page. In the case of the webinar, it takes you to the link. Don't worry, you'll also get a reminder the day before a webinar. And in the special interest group, it puts you in the group. Then when you're in the group, you click on more info and then you see all of this. So on the next page, you'll see inside one of the SIGs. It's actually my SIG on multilingual approaches. There's a welcome video. There's an article to read, which is like an introduction. You click the word review or start and you can see, for example, an activity book with lots of activities that you can take to your class, which are related to using multilingual approaches and supporting multilingual children in the classroom. Now, once you have looked at these materials, you can go to the forum, which is you can see it down the bottom in the blue. So in the forum, you have a chance to discuss these with other teachers. And one thing we haven't mentioned, Theo, is how many countries do we have involved? So many different countries. You'll
a lot.
Yeah, you won't only be in these special interest groups with other teachers from Kazakhstan. You might be replying on a forum to a teacher in Ukraine or Moldova. You might come to a meeting with me where we discuss something in the activity book. So I'll lead the session, but then I might put you in smaller groups with a task. You might be doing that task with a teacher from Georgia. So it's a great way to really widen the group of people that you discuss professional development with. So there's lots to do. So we've got lots to tell you, so let's go to the next item.
And yes, some good news that we haven't mentioned, Melissa, is that for all the activities, the webinars that they attend or the courses that they complete, they get a certificate, which they can download and save in my portfolio. So they can have, also a proof and a reward of their hard work on the platform.
Yeah,
so
that's a great feature, because I don't know about you, but sometimes it comes to the end of the academic year and I'm really tired, and it's a great chance to look back and look at all the really good work that you've done. So yeah, I like keeping everything in the one place. That's a great tip.
Okay, so now let us ask you something, and we'd really love to see your answers in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
How can this online community help you develop professionally? So we mentioned your professional development. We mentioned that this is a community that has been created for you, but most importantly is created with you. So this community cannot exist actually without you. So we are just providing you with a place where you can meet your peers, but this is your community. So it should be your input and your experience, your ideas are here. So while, so have just a second, think about this question and type a short answer in the chat. How can this online community help you develop? What do you think? After we've mentioned some of the features, any ideas, anything that you would like to share with us? And again, I will rely on Melissa because I can see only my screen and I cannot see the chat, although I would love to.
I think that some people are typing, and let's see what answers we have coming up. I mean, I can tell you what I'm developing at the moment is that in the SIG we're talking about multilingual approaches, and we've been talking about some issues of when we should use other languages in the classroom to help students when they don't know a word, and we're debating when it's good to use our first languages and to bring in other languages. We've had lots and lots of activities, and I'm really glad to be part of that group and learn so much. Okay, let's see what we have coming in. We have a bit of a delay.
So I'm sure you have already found some benefits, some good things about our community, our platform. So maybe you can think how they are related to you, to your experience, your development.
I can see a comment from one teacher, Gulsan, and she's interested in how to improve students, the quality of students' knowledge, maybe when they're doing online learning. So I would definitely recommend, wouldn't you, Theo, that she join the ICT special interest group with Natalia. That would be a great idea. Maybe your group on 21st century skills as well.
Well, why not join every group and see what they share? Because nowadays, I mean, in all groups, they refer to this online teaching, and they somehow shared a lot of ideas so far how to adapt things to the online communities, to the online teaching. So your questions are really valuable as well. So ask your questions in the forums, and the moderators or the other teachers may come up with an answer. Or sometimes, you know, when we ask a question or we ask for advice, we realize we found the solution. So by simply writing a question or saying or just reflecting on something, we can find the solutions ourselves.
Yeah, that definitely. I've got a couple of comments. One says that what they want from this community is to be aware of the latest innovations in English language teaching. Oh, definitely. Yeah, look at the calendar. There's so many different events there that will really, I think, be interesting for you. Someone anonymously says they haven't seen this type of platform that organizes everything together. Yeah, that's why we love it, isn't it, Theo?
Yeah, I'm glad we are the first to share this.
Great.
Okay, so keep those in mind, because we will have another question for you at the end. But meanwhile, let me share something again, as you can see, we are really fond of, is the forums. The forums where you can share experience, exchange ideas and experience with your peers. Whether it is on SIGs, in SIGs, so inside the special interest groups, or in your country forum, or probably there will be more forums, because this is a platform that keeps growing, and it's what we call an organic platform, because it keeps growing and changing all the time. And this happens also with your help. So your input, as I said, is really valuable. And these discussions that we develop on different topics are the place where we can also create this sense of belonging, this sense of community, because this is where you will share sometimes your problems, and you know that how problems can connect people and finding solutions together. This is a place where you can ask questions. This is a place where you can share resources, or your moderators will share resources and will weave the discussions and also add things that they find relevant to you, or that they think they might help. Now, joining a forum is very easy. If you remember, you have this tab, Forums, on the homepage, and then just by clicking the reply button, you will be able to type your answer or your question. The moderators will start these discussions, on a certain topic, with some questions, with some challenges, and then you will be able to reply both to the moderator, but also to very importantly, to your colleagues. As you can see by simply clicking on the reply button, and you can also add things like resources, attach a file, a document, anything that you might find relevant or you would like to share with your colleagues. And we have a question for you. We'd like you to keep in mind, what would you like to discuss in the forums? Well, we will suggest topics, but your suggestions will also be really useful, because as I said, we want this to be your community. That's why it's a community of practice, because people can share things that are relevant to their own context. So keep this in mind and share with us once you are on the platform what you would like to discuss, and the moderators will definitely start discussions that are connected to your interest. Something that Melissa mentioned a bit earlier is the help button. Yes, if you need technical support, you have the help button. And if you access that button, you will see, if you scroll down the page, you will find a lot of tutorials related to different features of the platform, which will show you exactly what to do in order to, I don't know, get a certificate, find a course, a webinar, help you enroll, and so on. If you have problems enrolling, you see at the top of the page, you see the pink or red help button. Very importantly, once you ask for help there, you will get an email, and you have to reply to that email to confirm your question. And a wonderful team behind that help desk will help you with any problem you might have. Now, we know what we can do for you, but what do you think you can bring to the community? I know there are a lot of, please type in the chat, just short answers. What can you bring to the community? So we've opened the doors to you, to this home, to this online home, and you are welcome. What can you bring to this community? A lot of things, I'm sure. But maybe you can take a minute and think about and share with us what you can do for the community. Of course, you will bring your experience. Yes, this is probably, let me give you one hint, the first thing that is really valuable. Your experience is really valuable, and your ideas at the same time. Anything else that you would like to share? Melissa, do we have anything in the chat?
Well, we've got lots of experienced teachers with ideas to share, and we've also got one teacher that says that they have very little practice yet, but you can bring a lot to the community as well. You can bring us questions.
Exactly.
Questions to open conversations are really one of the simplest forms of CPD, because then you are inviting someone to give you advice, and you start a dialogue. And so it doesn't matter if you are not an experienced teacher, that's also bringing something to the community.
Exactly. Questions are really important, and it helps. They help us, the moderators, start discussions, as I said, that are of interest to you.
Yeah, we've got somebody wants to discuss academic integrity. That's an interesting topic that we could start on the forum. And practical ideas. Yeah, if you come to our special interest group with practical ideas, we'll be so happy, won't we, Theo?
Of course. The more the merrier, you know what they say. So I'm sure you have, as I said, your experience, your context, your ideas are really important to us. And just to sum up, you will get different types of support. And of course, there are lots of benefits. And we just want to point them out quickly before we finish. That, as I said, you have the self-assessment, so you can use it to see where you are. You have the e-portfolio where you can keep everything, everything that is, in a digital form, and you can keep your reflections and your certificates, keep everything in one place. You have the forum discussions, which are this is a place where we create this community, actually. Okay. They will help you with, research, do some research, reflect, think and reflect. And there will be the webinars where you'll meet the moderators, but also the other teachers on the platform, and you'll get the chance to exchange ideas live, in a synchronous way. And last but not least, if you want to specialize on a certain topic, you have the SIGs, which again, another community. As you can see, we are really fond of this word as well, because this is what we feel as a community of practice. A lot of opportunity to try things and also to work together in the forums, in the webinars, in the special interest groups. So your space, as you can see, your place to reflect, but also a lot of opportunities to share. And let's see, how do you feel now about being an OTC member? Let's hope that you can share this in the chat. So how do you feel after we've shared only some of the features of our platform, and also some of the tips on how you can benefit from it? So share with us and let us know. So many times we start from feelings, even if after a lesson we say, oh, it felt like this or like that. So this is the starting point. So use this feeling, I hope it's a positive one, to enroll on the platform, to discover, to explore and discover, to experiment. Feel free to try things, to join all the communities there, the webinars, and to be an active member, to be part of it, because your input is really valuable.
Okay, I can see some answers. We have some some 3s, some 7s even.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Great. Lots of 5s and 3s. That's fantastic.
So thank you so much. But we are looking forward to questions if there are any. So I will stop sharing so that.
So I've been attentively reading comments and questions in the chat box. So, but before we move on to that, because there were general comments about how useful teachers find this, and I still do encourage teachers to post any questions if they have any. I would like to ask you, so if you had to highlight one thing that you personally find as the most useful in your own teaching practice, or when it comes to this platform, what would you single out? So how about we kick off with Theo?
Oh, okay, sorry. Well, it's difficult to choose. I think the forums, this is something that I feel it's, really useful, practical, and it gives, it opens a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities for teachers, not only to share, but also to find a lot of things, because they can not only share their problems and solutions, but also their resources. And it's very important when teachers share things that they've tried, because they are more relevant and they can, you know, add extra things. And I'm really fond of this. And this is where we create, as I said, this feeling of community, of belonging to a group, to a community. So that's my answer.
Great. Thank you. And Melissa,
I really like some of the special interest groups. I mean, maybe one reason because you have a combination of something to read, and then you can then go away and think about, and then meet up with people in a face-to-face group on a platform where you talk together about it. And I like that space to read something, understand it, try it, and then discuss it with someone else. So Tatiana said in her previous session that there's lots of experience in Kazakhstan, and there's challenges for the Kazakh students. So imagine if you join together in these webinars talking to Ukrainian and Georgian teachers, you'll find out that you've got so much in common. The challenges are shared, and you're going to find an answer with all those people there to help you. So yeah, I really recommend looking into those and deciding which one you want to join.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. I think that's a really very positive note to end things on. And I noted one question, which is a really important one. So one of the questions was, when can teachers start using the platform? And Simon very kindly responded, now. So you can go, we've been sharing the link, we'll keep sharing the link. You can register now and you can start interacting. So I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Theo and Melissa. It was really great to have you with us today. And I'll hand it over back to John to introduce our next speaker. So John, over to you.
Thank you very much, Maya, and thank you, ladies. Fascinating to hear about all of the things that we can do on this amazing platform. We have had a little bit of a change in the schedule. Instead of August going on now, we will have Melisandra Leonardos. Melisandra is an English language fellow. She's a virtual fellow who has been working with us in Kazakhstan since the fall, and there she is. Hi, Melisandra. Her topic is 5 tips for using photographs in online lessons. Melisandra, I will turn it over to you.
Okay, John, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It's been an interesting past 24 hours learning about Microsoft Teams. This is my first presentation using it, so I hope that it goes through without too many glitches. Can you see my screen at all?
We can see you.
You can see me?
I can't
Okay.
see the screen share yet.
Okay, let me see. Maybe this button can help me with the share content.
Maybe my colleagues can help me if it comes up before I can see it, because my computer's been lagging a little bit here.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it yet, but let's just give it a couple more seconds. If you're trying to share your slot, your document.
I am. Unfortunately, it's telling me to quit and reopen. So I'm not quite sure about that. Let's try something. Like I said, this is my my first time using the process here. I apologize.
No, don't worry about it. Well, there are 2 things that we can very quickly do. So you can try, when you choose the option to share the screen, you can try and sharing your desktop. If it doesn't work, you can quickly share, send the presentation to Daniel. He can share it from his screen. So let's just see if that would work.
Okay. This is, I still think this is probably a good lesson for all of us, because we're all encountering a lot of tech difficulties as we're navigating this online world. So this is a real-time attempt at showing how this can be done. So I'm going to share my options. I'm not sure how to share my desktop either.
So can I just subject, when you click on the icon which is next to, which is in the top bar, it says, it shows a little arrow. When you click on that one, it offers options to share desktop or some of the documents. Does that work for you?
It says share content.
Yes, exactly. Share
yes.
content, and then you need to choose a window or a desktop.
Okay, I'm not getting any options to do that. It's just saying share content. I apologize.
That's okay. Do you want to quickly maybe send it to Danyar, and we could?
Yeah, just send me the presentation. I will share it for you.
All right, I will do that right now.
And maybe this is a welcome break for teachers. They've been with us for a couple of hours now, so this will give them a couple of minutes of a breathing space just to reflect on what they've heard so far, because there was a lot to take in. And I know that we, sometimes tend to bombard teachers with a lot of new ideas and approaches and things that they need to think about. And because we said that we value the option to reflect on things, maybe these next couple of minutes while we sort things out will help teachers and us as well to reflect on the past 2.5 hours and what went well and what was useful and how teachers respond to that. So because we have the chat box while we're trying to sort things out, feel free to post any general comments or questions about what you've heard so far, what you're definitely most likely to be able to apply in your teaching context, or any general impressions of our sessions and event today. So let's do it that way. And Simon, can I just check whether you're still with us? Can you
yes,
hear us?
yes, I am.
Great. So any general impressions from your end? It was really great to see that level of interaction from teachers. I have to say that I keep checking the number of different comments, and I see that we published more than 1,000 comments from teachers, which is a really great number. So I really want to thank everybody for, I know it's quite late in Kazakhstan now, so it's really great to see that level of engagement.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm so impressed with the enthusiasm and the engagement and interest of teachers. I noticed one comment was engagement is our new word for, I think we've used it a lot of times, but really, I'm really impressed with teachers who are, stuck with us for a few hours. And we've gone through quite a few things. I thought that we've had quite a lot of practical tips, but we've also had sort of some content that's helped to enthuse us and to help us feel motivated about all the work that we're doing at the end of this year.
We might maybe say that we're getting engaged.
And also, we are mimicking, actually reliving what teachers have to deal with on a daily basis, every couple of hours in a day, dealing with ad hoc issues that come up, and you have a full virtual classroom of students just waiting for you to do something. So yeah, this is okay. We see the presentation now, by the way.
Great. Wow. Can you hear me?
Yes,
and we can hear you.
Can you see me?
And we can see you.
Okay. Can I control the presentation?
So you can't because Daniel is sharing, but just let us know when you need us to click to the next slide.
Okay, I'll do that. I can't see it, so I'm flying blind a little bit. So I'm just going to go on to my presentation and hope that this works. So yeah, I really like that the idea that this is exactly the kind of thing that we're all experiencing on a daily basis, working with online teaching. So thank you so much for having me. John, were you going to introduce me, or did you already introduce me? I think you did.
I did.
I did. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, I can't see myself. I also can't see any questions or answers, or maybe I can. Let's try this. My name is Melisandra Leonardos, and thank you so much for having me at this this opening ceremony. Just very briefly, I'm coming to you from Northern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, where it's a a little chilly and it's about 5:15 in the morning. I just going to go on with the presentation. So this is tips for using photographs in online lessons. Really, it's more like 7, 8, 9, 10 tips. But it's good to organize things in particular numbers. If you could switch over to the next slide, please. Okay, great, thanks. So they say that a picture or a photograph is worth 1,000 words. That's a saying. So this is a photograph that I chose, and I'm wondering if you can put in the question and answer what you think the little girl in this picture is thinking, the little girl who's looking at the man wearing a suit. Imagine what she would say. Do you have any thoughts about this?
So just to remind everybody that it would be good for you to start posting comments and answers in the chat box, and there will be a couple of seconds before those start appearing. But fire away and just type away.
Definitely fire away. I'm not able to see it.
We're just waiting for those to appear. So Simon, do you want to give it a go and maybe try? What do you think?
I think she's thinking, what on earth?
Yeah, exactly. What on earth is this little girl thinking? What on earth is happening in this photograph?
There's one comment in the chat box saying that she probably thinks it's an alien.
All right, that's an excellent thought. Definitely.
And we now started receiving quite a number of responses. So it says that she's thinking, Papa, who is that? What is he doing? Why is he wearing this? What is the man doing?
Mm-hmm. Why is he wearing in such this way? Mm-hmm. Why is he wearing this? What is it? I have often get a lot of students say, is it Halloween? Is he wearing a costume? So the point of me just sharing this with you is to show how we can use photographs to start our lessons with some fluency practice for our students. And in fact, this photograph was taken in the 1970s in New York City, and it was at a conference for professionals who study the effects of radiation. Quite obscure. So if we could move on to our next slide. I don't know what you can see. I do have some, if we could move to the next slide.
So we can see our goals for today.
Yeah, we can see our goals today. Thank you. So really, we're just going to explore, it's pretty straightforward, 5 tips for using photographs in online lessons. And I hope you can see this. Maybe you need to kind of press the return button as I go. We're just going to briefly explore what makes an effective photograph, learning critical thinking using photographs, learning and practicing grammar and vocabulary, encouraging creativity and communication, and also using photos to enhance our online lessons in other ways. So if you can go to the next slide. I hope everybody could see this.
Yes. Okay,
great. So why use photographs? I think one great reason is that they really engage our learners. They can be ambiguous and confusing, as we saw in the prior slide. We often don't know what's going on. So they invite our learners to use language. They invite our learners to think. And they're also a lot of fun. As instructors, as teachers, they can also tell us a lot about our students. We can use them to find out what our students know about a particular topic, so we can adjust our lessons as we go. And we use, I think, photographs as formative assessments to find out kind of where our students are throughout a given term or throughout a given unit. So they've got a lot of different uses. And probably one of the best uses of photographs for our particular topic is that they're very easy to integrate into online lessons. Very, very simple. Just cut and paste them. Okay, so we're going to go just into the first tip here. What makes an effective photograph? So what kind of photographs do you think would be useful in one of your online lessons? Can you think of any particular qualities or characteristics that you would want a photograph to have? One that has a lot of color, a lot of activity. Any thoughts?
So we're just waiting for comments to appear,
Sure.
and while we do that,
People aren't too burnt out on questions and answers.
no, it just takes about 15 seconds for those to start appearing in the chat box.
We do have a question, Melisandre, from Janat. Where do you get your pictures?
Okay. I am going to answer this question in the course of the presentation.
Okay.
There's a couple of different places that the short answer right now is I use a lot of them for this presentation from the New York Times. And also a friend of mine took a picture, so you can use your own. And also Free Radio Europe, which is an online, which is a news site, English news site for Central Asia and Eastern Europe. Also, I think something that's a perfect idea is for the photographs in your classes to be taken and produced by your students, by the learners themselves. Photos, okay, we have some photos of well-known people like Donald Trump, okay. Students guessing what's on the picture. Definitely. Okay, so I think we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so definitely, I think effective photographs, good photographs are ones that tell a story. These allows our students to interact with the photograph in a lot of different ways. Also, we want to make sure we use photos that are culturally appropriate, culturally and socially appropriate for our students. Also within the particular context that we're teaching in. Again, they can be, I think, complex and ambiguous, but also really depending on your objective, they can be beautiful, peaceful, or highly symbolic. It really just depends on what you want to do with your lesson. Maybe we can go to the next slide, please. And so different objectives, you're going to have different photographs. And if you can press the return button for me. So here's a photograph that, yeah, perhaps I've got to actually get to the slide myself on my end. This is a photograph with a lot going on. So it would be a great opportunity for students to practice their speaking, storytelling. The second photograph is very beautiful. But you might want to use it in a different way. It might not be as appropriate for example, telling a story, but it might be appropriate for other things. So it really just depends on what you want to do in your lesson. And I also just want to add, I'm the kind of presenter, I love people just making comments as I go during a presentation. You don't have to necessarily answer my questions. You're always free to use the Q&A or chat feature as we go, because I like it. That kind of creates a little mini community of participants as we're going through the presentation. All right, the next slide, please. And I'm just as an aside, as a process question, if somebody, given the rather unusual setting that this presentation is happening in, I'm not keeping very good track of time. So if somebody can let me know when I have maybe 15 or 10 minutes to go, that would be extremely helpful. You can either let me know in the chat or just let me know, because I have no sense of time whatsoever right now. All right, so the second kind of tip that we're looking at is using photographs to teach critical thinking. So photos are extremely valuable for learning critical thinking skills for some of the reasons that we've already discussed, that they're ambiguous and have lots of details. They can really stimulate our learners' curiosity. And I mean, the first thing we're going to ask is like, what on earth is going on here? What is in this picture? There's a woman in the middle. She appears to be yelling. What is she yelling, and why, and who is she yelling at? So photos are great for having our students ask questions. And of course, it's a great way to introduce critical thinking, because finding answers to questions and telling stories about our questions is a lot of what critical thinking is about. It's making sense of our world around us. So if we could go to the next slide. So there's, are we there? Okay. So there's a lot of different ways we can use photographs to teach critical thinking. And one simple method comes from an ongoing project that's put out by the New York Times newspaper. It's called "What's Going On in This Picture?" And they post weekly photographs and ask the following 3 questions. No, could you go back? Thank you. They ask the following 3 questions. What's going on in this picture? What do you see that makes you say that? And what more can you find? And your students are welcome to post answers on the site, and they'll get a chance to read answers from other students from all over the world as well. So it's also a great opportunity for your students to participate in a larger global community. And a couple of days after posting a photograph, they will give you an explanation of the photograph. So this is one great way to stimulate critical thinking in our learners. If we could go to the next slide. So another way to use critical thinking with our photographs is by following a sequence such as this one, which is based on Bloom's taxonomy. So this is a little bit more of a traditional method of teaching critical thinking. Learners can practice observing, understanding what's going on, analyzing, evaluating, and then doing creative tasks. If we could go to the next photograph. Are we there? Okay, so for example, if we're going to work with the idea of understanding, students can figure out what they know or what they don't know, and really important, what they want to know. So they begin to tell a story about the photograph, and you can have students talking about this, you can have students writing. You could even do this asynchronously if you like, depending on your classrooms and depending on your needs. It could be a homework. There's any number of ways you can engage students so that they're understanding the photograph. But we really want them to think about. Okay, we're on to the next slide. You're a bit ahead of me, and that's okay. I'm toggling back and forth between the platform and my PowerPoint. Analysis. Yeah, this is allowing students to ask deeper questions and answering them and finding a hypothesis. So there's a lot of different creative ways you can work with your students to go a little bit deeper in the photograph. Certainly asking a lot of open-ended questions. Why is this happening? How do we know? Asking open-ended questions. Also having your students ask each other the questions and communicate either in the whole class or in breakout rooms. So there's a lot of different ways you can facilitate critical thinking, and in particular the analysis piece of it. So if we can go just to the next slide. Okay. This is, thanks for the tip, 15 minutes. This is a redwood forest in Northern California, one of my favorite places in the world. And I'm just showing this to you as a way of breaking up my presentation and just giving everyone a breather for just a little bit of time. I know I could use a breather myself for just a moment. So just to take a sip of water, take a deep breath, stretch, just take just a moment. All right, can we go to the next slide?
Yep, we see it now.
Okay, great, thank you. So learning and practicing grammar and vocabulary, this is a very obviously straightforward idea. I think photographs can be a very fun and engaging way for students to learn and practice specific grammar points, or to discover grammar points that our students need to learn. And they can be used for beginners as well as intermediates and more advanced learners. So maybe we can go to the next slide. Okay, it looks like we're there. So this is an example of learning and practicing vocabulary. Many different ways of doing this. I provided just some scaffolding here for students if they were learning prepositions of location or the present continuous. This gives them an opportunity to practice using this particular language form. For example, the cat is in the wagon, there's a basket on a bicycle, there are two people sitting on the bench, the boy is kneeling over the cat, etc., etc. Also, it's a great opportunity for students to point out vocabulary. You can have students, maybe you can give them the question, you know, point out for beginning students 5 different colors that you see in the photograph. 5 different objects, any number of ways to explore with vocabulary. You can also have your students bring in photographs and share vocabulary that they've learned, or quiz their fellow learners in class. So there's a lot of different ways of practicing grammar and vocabulary using photographs. These are just a couple. Just go to the next slide. Just another example. Students forming question words so they can practice. Where are the people in the photo? Why is the cat sitting on the wagon? You'll know your students and be able to give them the proper amount of scaffolding that they'll need. The next photograph, and I actually, just to let you know, I think just given everything, I'm actually running a little bit fast. So actually, could you go back? That's okay. So forming question words, can you go to the next? Okay, and answering questions with modal verbs of probability. Could you go back to the previous slide, slide 14, where we have the tips, learning and practicing grammar and vocabulary? So can you think of any ways in which you could use this particular photograph to any exercises or writing exercises that you could have your students do to practice grammar or vocabulary? Any thoughts?
It looks like we have a question or an answer for you from Anonymous. Where is she from? Who is speaking?
Okay. So those are great questions. I actually don't personally know the answer to that, but those are questions that you could have your students answer. Definitely. So that's a use of using creativity for sure. Okay, maybe no new questions.
We have just a statement from Tatu in Atrao, who says, "Happy grandparents."
Happy grandparents. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I like that. That's wonderful. All right. So really, the sky's the limit as far as practicing your grammar and vocabulary with your students here. So can we go to, I think, slide number 18? I'm kind of jumping around, but that's how I often present myself. I like to jump around sometimes. All right, so thanks a lot. Tip number 4, encouraging creative communication. So this is something that we've been doing throughout this presentation. It's, I think, pretty clear. There's a lot of different ways we can encourage our students to be creative using photographs as a starting point. And definitely many ways of having our students communicate with each other, practice active communication, active listening. So can you think of some creative activities in general that you might use with photographs, or maybe activities that you might want to use in particular with this very odd photograph?
Melisandre, we have a couple that have come in already, and not necessarily, but until the others start rolling in, Christina from Turkmenistan wrote, lots of photos of the pandemic experience will be a hot topic nowadays. Yeah, really, yeah, very true. Just a little plug for you. Anonymous says, our brilliant Melisandre, great teacher from Oakland. Well, Tatiana from the Nura region says, little children like to describe photos and pictures.
Mm-hmm. They do. They do. That's one thing that's wonderful about photographs, is that you can use them at all ages. I'm teaching at Zhubanov University, And my students love to use photographs, love to talk about photographs, and little kids love it. So it's something you can use with all age groups, all levels of learners. Just extremely helpful.
Who doesn't like to look at photos these days?
Who doesn't like to look at photos? Yeah, I mean, hopefully this is a somewhat entertaining presentation for you to yourself kind of think like, what is happening in this particular photograph? We've got a very, very odd situation going on. And actually, this photograph, I believe it is from a theme park in Australia. It's a theme park that deals with farming, sheep farming. And a lot of visitors, tourists come from all over the world, and I think in particular Asia, to visit this theme park. So you learn something new every day when you look at photographs.
We have another comment from Tatu and Atrao. She says, wow, it's a fashion show.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like a fashion show for sheep. And you could probably do quite a bit of really kind of interesting activities with your students just around this. You can I can actually see this one. I see the things, and then they just disappear from me. So useful and essential methodology to improve speaking skills of students, definitely. It's great for verbal communication. It's also great for written communication. Students can write about them. You can use this for synchronous and asynchronous learning again. So lots of different opportunities for being creative with photographs.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe,
Sorry, just last comment, I guess, from Aigul. She wrote, write a story, create a situation, describe emotions and feelings, and interview the main character.
Yeah, that's great. Interviewing the main character is great. Also, you can come up with titles for photographs, or maybe have your students pretend that they're reporters and they're interviewing some of the people in the photographs. So you can kind of do some pretend interviews with them, do a press release. I always like doing things like that. You could probably come up with some debates for this. Also, students can share their own photographs. Maybe they can take a photograph that expresses some of their responses to this photograph, and you can kind of develop sort of a chain reaction that way. There's just a lot of different things you can do. So I see this activity is not only good for school students, but for any level. I think it also depends on the teacher's creativity. The teacher can adapt it to the theme and grammar topic. Yeah, lots of ways of engaging students.
Melisandre, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we're headed into maybe our last couple minutes.
Okay, great, no problem. Thank you for the time check. So finally, we can just go to the next slide. Using photographs to enhance your lessons. What exactly do I mean by this? I think photographs can be used for much more than just subject matter. We can use them as a tool when we develop and present our online lessons. We can be creative and playful with them. For example, a photograph can be used to create a small break within a lesson, kind of like what I used with the Redwood Forest picture. You can use them to transition from one topic to another. Or they can be used to introduce a new topic or theme to your students. They can also be used as icebreakers, provide opportunity for fluency practice. I like to call things like fluency bursts. And if our students seem to be losing their focus, as often can happen, we can just use them to grab their attention and draw them back to the lesson. Just if you see that the attention and gone over here, just like boom, put an interesting photograph on the screen and turn your students loose on it and see what they can they can do. Are there any other questions about this particular slide or anything at all? This, I admit, wasn't exactly how I had expected this presentation to go, but if we can go to the next slide. So just summing this up, and being a little goofy here, but use your imagination. These 5 tips are just the tip of the iceberg. Really, there's so much more you can do than what we covered in this presentation. Obviously, you're going to be combining so many of these different tips that I used. You could also do things like teach a unit on photography as an art form or art appreciation. That's another kind of creative task. Or you can take this from the perspective of media literacy. So there's just so much you can do with photos in your lessons. I hope that you learned some inspiring tips, and I'm curious to see how you will be learning, working with your learners in the future on this topic. So thank you so much. And also I did promise to show a slide where you can find some photographs. So if you just go quickly just to the next slide. This is the link for the New York Times. This is a free application on their website. Fantastic photographs. Also Pixabay is another site that I like to use, and Radio Free Europe is great for Central Europe, Central Asia and Eastern Europe. So there's a lot of photographs taken every week from these regions that you can use. And of course, the internet is rife with any number of photographs. You can quickly be overwhelmed by the options. So thank you very, very much for your time this evening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations.
Well, I think that we probably can say that there was one learning outcome that we did not plan for initially, and that was that you showed us how really good photos can actually help us overcome issues when you have a session that is not going according to the initial plan. So Perfect. The power of a good photo is vast. So you can always put something interesting on the screen while you're trying to sort things out in the background. So that's, I think, a lesson learned for everybody.
Perfect. Great. Thanks so much.
I would agree. Thank you, Maya. And thank you so much, Melisandre. Really great presentation. So much we can do with photographs. Big plug from me from Radio Free Europe, too. So, unfortunately, our ever popular August Garnsey was not able to get on. We had some technical issues, but the great news is that in his stead, Christina Osan will be talking to us about climate action in language education, a very relevant topic these days. So, Christina, I will turn it right over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I hope you are not too disappointed that you do not get to see August. But I have to tell you that I'm very, very happy to be here today. Especially today, and please let me tell you why. First of all, it is the very first day of this brand new free British Council course entitled, as John was saying, Climate Action in Language Classes. And I am more than happy to share the information with you. Let me explain, first of all, how this course came about. And then I will also mention what's the connection with OTC, because there is one. I should probably, I don't know, if you were there for Theo and Melissa's presentation, you may have heard my name before. They mentioned that some of there are other moderators there. I'm one of them, so my name is Cristiana Oșan, and I'm one of the moderators on the OTC platform, where I also have a SIG on this topic. So, what about the course first? Let's focus on the course. I would like to share with you some information that I find interesting and relevant, and hopefully you will too. First of all, I should mention that this is part of what British Council is trying to contribute with to COP26. What is COP26? It's a huge event. It's the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the parties, and it will take place in Glasgow in November 2021. They are still hoping that they will be able to meet face to face. If not, they will of course have the event online. And this is a major event because by now even the governments who were so reluctant to discuss environmental issues, they have to admit we are talking more about climate change. We are talking about a climate crisis. So they will meet and they will try to see what we can do, all of us. But of course, we as educators, we have a role to play. And soon, not just yet, but soon, there will be a British Council site, britishcouncil.org/climate-connection, where you will find lots of things related to education and climate action. For instance, I will come back to the course in a minute, and as you can see, it has just been launched, and we have hundreds of teachers from all around the world already happily enjoying the course. There will be a series of podcasts. They are thinking about creating a competition for teachers. They can submit lesson plans, and there will be winners. There will be activities for the learners. So lots of things going on. This is just about the context. Now the course. I'm very happy to tell you that actually my partner in crime, the person with whom I will moderate the first module of the course, is Theodora Naiba. You heard her speak earlier. And Theo, please feel free to add anything while we are having this presentation here. So the course itself starts today, and it has 3 separate modules. We are starting with the first module. Let me share again my screen to show you how you can enroll, and if possible, my colleagues, Theo, maybe you can share the link with the teachers.
Already there.
Oh, great. I knew that I could count on you. So this is the page that you will get to, and you will see this is the first module. I'm particularly proud to present it because I actually wrote it. So it's the product of lots of work hours, but also a product of love and passion for education and for nature. So module 1 is called Introducing Climate Change Issues into Language Teaching Classes. And if you scroll down, you will be able to see a presentation of the 3 modules, and also you will be able to follow a link to register for module 1. This is a free course, so you can enroll for free, and you will be able to work in module 1 for 2 weeks. So we start today and we finish on the 12th of May. Take a look at what we are going to do in module 1. We will explore climate change issues and different ways you can effectively introduce these issues in language teaching classes in ways your learners will find engaging and motivating. This is a very important aspect. When we started the whole project, the whole Climate Connection project, we had a survey that was filled in both by teenagers and by teachers around the world, and we had thousands of replies. And the vast majority of the teenagers expressed an interest in the topic, but they said that the information they got was depressing and not interesting. It was not presented in an interesting way. On the other hand, 87% of the teachers said that they are aware they should play a role in introducing these topics into language classes, but they lack the training and they would like to have more training. So this is where we come and this course comes. We are trying to fill that gap between the desires of learners to find out more, but to engage with the information in an interesting and in an analytical way, if you want, and the desire of the teachers to be able to offer that quality when discussing these topics. We will also look at language, because there are certain terms that are changing. We will also be creative. There will be poetry. There will be discussions about how the language that we use, the words that we use, shape who we are and shape our realities. Let me give you just some information related to that. It's something that I found out while I was doing research for the module. A few years ago, the Junior Oxford Dictionary, which is addressed to young students, generally learners who are 6, 7 years old, took out 50 words and introduced 50 new words, because they constantly update the language. All the words they took out were related to nature. They took out acorn, they took out all sorts of oak, all sorts of trees. So we are not even providing the language that we need in order to connect with nature. You may wonder what they put instead those 50 words. Well, they added everything related to technology. So they introduced words like chat room and video conference. Of course, these words are relevant. This is the reality we live in. I've been working online for 11 years, but we do need also to make sure we know how to speak about our environment, the nature, our planet, our home, basically. So we will discuss all that in Module 1, and we will also look at 2 lesson plans, one for primary learners and one for secondary learners. When we look at these lesson plans, we will try to analyze together the ways in which we can do what I have just said, engage the learners in an active way and take into account their interests, their level, their way of learning. And there will be lots of resources. So 2 weeks for Module 1. And you may think that online learning can be a solitary experience. Well, not this one, okay? For this one, Theo and I will be waiting for you in a Facebook group. So you can study these modules. Let's start with Module 1, okay? You can enroll for Module 1 today, and you have 2 weeks to finish it in a self-access mode. But at the end of each unit, you will have a link to this Facebook group, Language for Resilience Practitioners. And you will find here, well, a video from Theo and me welcoming you to the course. And we will discuss throughout the course. We will go deeper. We will try to personalize the course content and to help you make it yours. So it's not going to be the usual experience. It's going to combine a huge number of teachers, which is specific to MOOCs, with a more personalized approach. So I hope that this sounds good and you are interested in this. There will be, after Module 1, there will be a break for a week, and then Module 2 will be launched. Module 2 will be all about designing lessons and finding ways in which we can introduce the topic of the climate action and the climate crisis into our lessons regularly. By now we have understood that practically every topic of our lives, of our lessons, can be connected to the environment. Think about even a topic like how you celebrate your birthday with young learners. You can discuss how they can have a nature friendly party, what they can do in order to make it greener, or, you know, from clothes, fashion, the water crisis, everything can be related to the environment. And we have to make sure that we introduce these topics in our classes. And then Module 3 in June. In Module 3, we are going to go outside the classroom. We will start from the classroom, but we will go outside the classroom. In module 3, we will look at how we can make sustainability a part of the learners' lives. We will look at projects we can start in school and what they can take away and what they can apply in their everyday lives. It's going to be done in a non-judgmental way. We will just present choices. We will just encourage learners and teachers to explore the topic. So if there are any questions about the course, you can ask me now, and then I will show you the connection with OTC. Let's see, are there any particular questions about the course? Do you think it sounds interesting? Is this something that you are interested in?
Christina, I'm scanning
Yes.
for questions.
Okay.
Nothing yet. There's a statement. My candidate dissertation is Environment Protection Teaching in Preparation of English Language Teacher Faculties in Kazakhstani and USA Universities. I presented my dissertation in 2003. So wow, really cool. You've got a fan.
Exactly. So we could really benefit from all sorts of teachers joining. Those who already have experience with the topic, who can share their experience. Those who are interested and would like to start. We noticed that quite a lot of teachers feel intimidated. They think, well, I'm not an expert. What can I do? How can I discuss the topic if I don't know everything about it? But actually, you don't have to be a specialist. You have to be a good teacher, and you already are. Just the fact that you participate in events that allow you to develop professionally shows that you are great teachers. And you know how to encourage discussion. You know how to encourage learners to do research. This is what we have to do. We don't have to be specialists. We will learn together as teachers and together with the learners.
I agree. We're still not seeing any questions yet.
No worries.
I can definitely agree with you about climate change, and this is a very huge topic, of course, that we all know about. One of the trends that we're seeing is that there's a lot of attention being paid to this by the U.S. State Department, by our new presidential administration. So, you know, people who are interested in a new topic where there maybe is more attention being paid, I think should definitely think about this. We have
to do something. You remember that there was the Paris Convention in 2015, and all the countries, all the governments agreed that they should introduce environmental education in their schooling systems. How many countries have done that in the last 6 years? One, Italy. Italy is the only country who has done that. They have a special curriculum, they have a subject matter that is taught in schools. The rest of us, we will have to manage. So we are here to learn together and to find out ways in which we can do that, even in language classes. That's the point. As English teachers, we don't have to be specialists in physics and chemistry and science in general. We just have to start exploring the topic with our learners, and we'll have lots of practical ideas. Even the use of pictures. I'm happy to see that Melisandra before mentioned that. We will discuss how using pictures of ice caps melting or disasters taking place on a different continent do not affect us anymore. We have become completely insensitive to these images. But if we look around in our community, we can immediately spot issues. And we suggest that we start from there. There are many organizations, even teachers associations, that have competitions with the learners' pictures. So the learners might find more relevant pictures about the effects of the global crisis on their lives immediately, not something distant, polar bears struggling. It's, you know, it's touching, but people don't feel it's relevant for them. So we have to address the issues in ways that can have an emotional impact and in a way that can become proactive, that would urge the teachers and the learners to act.
And Christiana, I did notice one of the questions in the chat box. So there is a question about, because it starts today, at what time does it start? Is it in a form of a MOOC? So I think it would be good for us to clarify that.
Okay, great. That's a very good question. So the units of the module, there are 3 units. Each unit takes 1 hour. There are 3 hours of work, of online learning. And all the work is asynchronous. You don't have to be online with us at the same time. You can enroll and you can manage your time. Just make sure that in the 2 weeks you go through all the 3 units and then you get a certificate. The good news is that we designed the course in 3 modules, but the modules also stand alone. So actually you will get 3 certificates if you take the 3 modules gradually in time. So there will be a certificate of completion for the module. There is no need, the course has already opened. You can click the link and enroll, and you will see the units, manage your own time, you know your schedule, you know how much time you have to read or to explore. And then if you have some extra time on your hands, join Theo and me on the Facebook group and we will discuss more details there.
Christina, can I just add something?
Please do.
I want to make the connection with what I've told you before about the platform. If you join our platform, you will find about events like this one, about webinars like this one, courses like this one. So you'll have a place where we will keep you updated with everything that is going on. And all the, all the important events that are there, webinars, courses. So there are more like this, and not only organized by us, but organized by different institutions, or which you might find useful. You can see them, on the on the calendar that we actually we also shared with you earlier, and we are ready to share more. So
that's a great point.
Join us. Yeah,
exactly. That the OTC community opens up the world for us. If you come to the platform today in the calendar, you will find the link to go to the course. More than that, the ladies mentioned the special interest groups. If you go to the special interest groups, you will be able to enroll in our brand new climate action for teachers and learners, SIG. So you will be able to join us here. Just a second, please, because I have many activities, as you can see. But the point is that you have to click on more info and then on enroll, and you will be there. If you wonder what exactly we will be doing in that SIG, I can show you just a couple of ideas. Well, John said that it is in a way a new idea in terms of, oh, okay, thank you, Theo. You see how great it is to have your best friend there assisting you. I just thought about the slides and she put them up on the screen. So the SIG will explore all these new aspects, and we will go through questions, lots of questions, okay? But we won't leave you hanging like this up in the air with lots of questions in your heads. We will try to find the answers together. So we will look, for instance, at what is the climate crisis? Why do we use the term the climate crisis? And you may have noticed that I avoid to say the climate change. This is something we can discuss. What are the environmental issues? In general, a definition, if you want, is that environmental issues are problems related to the quality or the quantity of the planet's systems, soil, water, air, ozone layer, etc., as a result of human activity or the mistreatment of the planet. So we will go through understanding the global issues, the local issues, the regional issues. Then you may wonder why we should do this. Why should teachers include environmental topics into their classes? Why should learners enjoy this? We will look at different reasons. There are even linguistic reasons. It's good to enrich the vocabulary of our learners. We as educators, we want to prepare our learners for the society of today, and society today is all about global issues. There are lots of things that affect us at the local level, but they explode and go global. The pandemic is just one example. And for global issues, we need global solutions. We have to agree. We have to find out together the right ways to address these things. So we look at vocabulary, we will look at action, we will look at how we can develop the thinking skills and the critical thinking of our learners. All right, and some other questions that will be addressed is how we can do that. I think we all know that now almost every, if not every, new course book has that special unit dedicated to environmental issues, right? I'm sure you have one of those lessons in your books too. But is that enough? So we will look at different things. First, we will look at how we can truly take advantage of that unit or that lesson in your book, and how we can make it larger, how we can ignite an interest in the topic. Then we will look at how we can give our regular lessons an environmental, a sustainability twist, how we can ask questions that would encourage the learners to think deeper. And I noticed that when we do that, in no time, learners start doing that. Learners ask the relevant questions. They are interested in the topic. So yes, we will look at how we can do that, encourage discussion regularly, maybe not in every class, but regularly. And we will also look at the actions, the projects, the things that can go beyond research, the things that we can do, the choices we make, because after all, this is what we are talking about, our choices, the things we can change, small things that maybe will have a big impact. So all these things will be discussed in our SIG, and of course, we will have regular meetings besides the forum that is already there, and where I posted a video of a live Facebook event I had yesterday with British Council, with Xing English British Council. And I encourage you to tell me what you think of the SIG, of the course, introduce yourselves, tell us about your interest. So I do hope you will join us and you will find the topic interesting, because, you know, it's not only about teaching language, it's about teaching life skills, and being able to discuss and to act on global issues is important.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And perfect timing, I have to say, Cristiana. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for being with us on such short notice. So I hope the teachers are excited about the course. There's quite a lot to explore, and you can follow up on many of these things that Cristiana mentioned in the course and within the online teacher community. So Cristiana and Theo, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Theo, and thank you so much for having me. I hope to see many of the teachers online.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, we've almost come to the end of our event today, and I would just like to mention once again how grateful we are that you spend a couple of hours with us it's not Friday, but it's Wednesday afternoon, and it's quite late in your part of the world, so that's really great, and it's good to see that you were so engaged with so many different questions and comments. In the agenda, for those of you who carefully read the agenda when we announced the event, you probably noticed that we have about 10 to 15 minutes left for the wrap up and to tell you about what's coming up. So I'll hand it over to Simon and then Olga and John to briefly talk about some of the things coming up, and then we will wrap up the event. So Simon, how about we kick off with you?
Great. Thank you so much, Maya. Thank you so much, Cristiana, and everyone else. We've had a really great afternoon or evening together. I think it's coming up to 7:15 local time. So it's been packed full of information. Lots of things to take on board. If you've joined late, I suggest that you access the recording and have a look at some of the earlier sessions that were posted there. We will be posting this on the OTC, and of course in your follow-up email from us following up your registration, you will get a survey which Maya will talk to you about shortly, and you will also be sent a copy of or have access to a copy of the recordings as well. So I just where to start? I mean, John, for me, what immediately pops into my head is Scott Thornberry's Kim's Game, or his version of Kim's Game, which where he changed something, switched off his camera and changed something, and we had to do a lot of guessing for that. And I loved Melisandra's photo of a man avoiding COVID walking down the street. I thought that was also really great. I don't know, what about you, John? What are some of the highlights for you?
Simon, I'm all about cooperation, and I love the idea that we're working together, and that now issues are coalescing, and there are issues like climate change that are definitely number one on our mutual agendas and worldwide agendas. I think that's a great thing. Really nice that Christiana was able to be, we say in English, or American English, our pinch hitter, who came in and helped us out in our time of need. But very, very happy and lots of fun. Thank you so much to the British Council for hosting our excellent presenters. I don't know about you guys, but I learned so much. I wish I was in the classroom still so I could actually use this information. But yeah, I think, is Olga still with us? Were we going to turn it over to Olga next? I think. Olga Patrova. So Olga is the Regional English Language Office Assistant. We work very closely together on our English language programs, and I think Olga is going to talk about what's coming up next. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Joel. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to tell you that I'm really honored to be here in such nice company of English language professionals, educators, experts, and trainers. And of course, I think our guests today, English language teachers from Kazakhstan and Central Asia, they got a lot of information and useful tips and techniques, and they will use it in their classrooms. And finally, it will be beneficial for their students. So great event. Thank you very much, British Council, for organizing this. As for the future events, let me tell you that this event is not the last one. It's just the beginning. And in upcoming months of May and June, we will have six sessions conducted by the representatives of British Council and the US Embassy or US Department of State programs. So let me provide the dates of these events and the topics, the titles of those presentations. So the events will take place on the 12th of May, on the 19th of May, 26th of May, the 2nd of June, the 9th of June, and the 16th of June. The topics are the following, and please put them down because I think it will be very interesting for you. So, the titles: Be Prepared, Building Flexibility and Resilience into Lesson Planning. This will take place on the 12th of May. The next one, the 19th of May, Project-Based Learning in the Online Classroom. Then, 26th of May, Inclusion in Education, Modern Myths, Challenges, and on the 2nd of June, the representative of the US Department of State program will introduce collaborative online whiteboards, how to integrate Myra into any online lesson. The next one, on the 9th of June, effective assessment in the online classroom. And the last one on the 16th of June, reflection in action, developing reflective praxis within virtual communities. So be tuned and join us during all these sessions. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you, Olga. And just to highlight, we'll obviously be sharing information in a written form with everybody. So we will be sending out a follow-up email to everybody who registered for the event today, alongside the survey and alongside all information about some of the links and offers that we talked about in our event today. So don't worry, you don't have to remember everything now. There will be a follow-up communication.
Great, thank you, Maya. And just to not to put a fly in the ointment, but to just clarify something. All of those fantastic webinars that Olga read through, they are available, or they will be available, on the online teacher community platform. So to see them, to be part of all of that action, you are going to have to register and come onto the platform and join us there. And not only will you get those fantastic webinars, but you'll also have access to your e-portfolio. You'll have access to the special interest groups that Theo and Melissa and Christiana were talking about. So yes, I think we will send you all this information. You don't need to memorize it, but do follow up your emails, and please, one of the questions that came up a lot was, do we get a certificate for attending this? And the answer is not automatically. You have to fill in this survey, the post-event survey, and return it to us, and then you will get a certificate at the end of all of that. So there's a little bit more work for you to do to get there. So yes, I mean, I think it's been a fantastic event, and as John said, I think this is it's great for us. By us, I mean the British Council, the US Embassy, Relay Office, plus the KazTEA colleagues as well. It's great for us to all be working together, sort of putting on stuff for really sort of meaningful stuff for teachers, and having all of your engagement and interaction. I'm just looking, and I can see that we have 1,233 comments and that have been posted over the last 3 hours, which is a phenomenal level of engagement. And thank you so much for staying with us. I see we still have over 200 people still with us at the end of the day at 7:30 at night. So that's also an amazing achievement. And so thank you for all of your attention, your enthusiasm, your engagement. There comes that word again. And I think for John, I don't know whether you wanted to add some final words, and then Maya will wrap it up at the end. You're on mute still.
Hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Maya. Thanks, Olga. Very just few last words. Thank you again so much to the British Council for hosting. Very happy to be working with you again. I hope this doesn't mean that I lose any more hair, but it doesn't really matter these days anyhow. That's it. That's it from us. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you, John. So I won't bore you with any more information. I think you had to take in quite a lot today. I will leave you with two final things to create a bit more, even more excitement around the online teacher community. In autumn, we will be launching a classroom assessment course available on the platform. And I know that assessment is usually the hot topic the teachers want to focus on. And we will be launching a course on action research as well. So as it's usually said, watch this space. We will be in touch. We will maintain that engagement with you. We're thrilled that you spent all this time with us, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and good luck with wrapping up a very crazy school year. Hope to see you again sometime soon in the near future. Goodbye, everybody.